like Jack Golk or something? Golky?
Yeah, I think so. 10 threes is pretty good.
And he's a bench player.
Yeah, Oakland beat Kentucky last night, but the Aztecs survived. They did not fall victim to the 12 versus 5 seed upset, although it was not without some very nervous moments. I mean, I was, just sweating it out. And the funny thing is, Scraby, is I didn't feel nervous during the game. I was almost resigned to the fact that this team has given us some great thrills this year.
Oh, no, you went down that route?
I did. I went down that road. I was like, you know what? They went to the final game last year. Anything they do this year is going to be gravy. They got to the NCAA tournament. They got a 5 seed again. I was going to try to be happy with that. But now they've given us even more with a victory in the first round and now a chance to play on in the NCAA tournament. Here's the thing. I'd love to sit here and say that the Aztecs played less than stellar today, and that's why Alabama-Birmingham was in this game. But I didn't think the Aztecs played less than stellar. I thought the Aztecs played great. I mean, honestly, could Jaden Ledee have played any better? No. 32 points, 8 rebounds, 11 of 18, three-pointer, 9 of 10 free throws. Every one of them was clutch. Had to have every one of them, and he made them all. Lamont Butler had the game of his life, and that's for a guy that hit a winning shot in a Final Four game.
He was everywhere, and he got – you know what I got to say about the announcers? They were very complimentary of the Aztecs team.
Well, Steve Smith understands defense.
Yeah.
One of the color analysts, he's a Hall of Fame player. He understands defense. He played for Tom Izzo at Michigan State before he had a great NBA career. Lamont Butler dominated the game. And that's in a game in which Jaden Ledee had 32 points. But Lamont Butler dominated at both ends. They credit him for 4 steals. He probably knocked away 5 more balls.
Yeah, he did.
He had 4 assists. He had 3 rebounds. He had 15 points. He hit clutch free throws, and he's not a good free throw shooter. I thought Lamont Butler could not have played any better. And as far as everybody else, our guy Elijah Saunders hit a couple of big shots.
He did, yeah.
Had a couple of big offensive rebounds.
All I kept thinking when he hit those shots was winner.
That's right. He's going to be a winner. Thanks to your thought-provoking question.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Reese Waters hit a couple. He was 2 for 8.
They were making their shots. I even think they won the race to 10.
They did. They won the race to 10. They were at 10 points first. In fact, they never trailed until the midway point of the second half. And they usually get way behind. But here's my thing on the Aztecs. This is just about how good they are, which is good enough.
Yeah.
I keep thinking that they're going to be better than this, and they're going to have a game where they're knocking in shots and they're, creating the kind of havoc.
Winning by 20.
That they could create last year and, knocking away shots at the rim. The Aztecs don't have a shot maker on this team. Now, what is a shot maker? In my mind, a shot maker is a guy that can create and get a shot and make a shot with a hand in his face. UAB had 2 or 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
The Aztecs had 0 and have 0. When is the last time an Aztec made an outside contested jumper?
Outside of Jaden Ledee?
Outside of Jaden Ledee, and most of his shots are in the paint.
Can't think of one, Chris.
No, they didn't make one today. They knocked in some open looks, which is, better than missing them. But this is just how good they are. And it's good enough. They're into the second round of the NCAA tournament. It's terrific. Brian Dutcher has done, I think an incredible job. You look at the other teams from the Final Four last year. Where are they? Miami didn't even make the tournament. I don't even think they got out of last place in the ACC.
FAU busted my bracket.
FAU's busted. They're out. They didn't get to the second round. Obviously, UConn is going to get to the second round, but they're UConn. But, I mean, for the Aztecs to come back from the unbelievable run they had last season and grit their teeth and find a way to get through this game today, I'm ecstatic about it. I can't sit here and say I think they need to play better against Auburn or Yale, and we'll keep you up to date on that game. Right now, Auburn leads 26-25 first half. So we'll keep you up to date. Go Yale. I mean, why not?
Let's go Bulldogs.
Get a little help like they did last year. But, I'd like to say they're going to have to play better to beat Auburn. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that they can play a whole lot better. They were disruptive on defense. They created 14 turnovers. They had 11 steals. They knocked the ball away. They handled UAB's 1-3-1 trap pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They had some turnovers against it, but for the most part, they handled it well. Ledee was a monster. Butler was incredible. So I don't know that they can play a lot better than that.
I'm surprised at this take in a good way, because when you walked in, I was like, how are you doing? And you were like, well, I got lots to say, and that's all
I was still coming off of this game. I mean, I realized how close of a call this was.
It was very close.
When the game was over,
Yes.
I was like, wow, did we just survive that?
Because in the first half, they wasted opportunities. They
Oh,
had
my
plenty of
goodness.
opportunities.
I have a message for Miles Bird.
Uh-oh.
And I really like this kid. He was on our show earlier this year. He's a young player. Miles, when you are on a fast break after a steal, or you are getting a pass at the end of a transition, you don't have to throw down a highlight reel dunk. Just lay the ball up and put it in. He lost the ball going up for one certain layup, and the second one, you could see him thinking about a dunk and then changing his mind and missed another layup. And you're right, Scraby. When things are going your way, you have to take advantage of it. The Aztecs should have led by a whole lot more than 6 points at halftime. They should have been up 15, but they shot themselves in the foot. That is the one area of concern if I'm Brian Dutcher going forward. When we have chances, when Butler knocks away a ball, we have to go down at the other end and make a wide open layup.
Yeah.
You got to convert that stuff. And that nearly cost them in the end because UAB got hot. Butter Johnson. He was 5 of 10 from 3.
He was pretty good.
Although he missed the last one. And give Reese Waters some credit. He defended that beautifully without fouling him, made it a very difficult shot to try and tie the game. But Butter can shoot.
Yes, he can.
If we had Butter, we'd be going back to the Final Four.
I think it's Chris. You got to say it with the emphasis. Butter.
Yeah, Butter.
Because if you like, he was Butter.
He impressed me.
A couple of those guys impressed, except for I don't remember the guy's name. The big guy. He got in foul trouble so early.
Well, that's Jaden Ledee.
Yeah,
I mean,
if he's a monster.
If you haven't played against Jaden Ledee, you don't know. You can look at him on film, but you don't know what it's like until you get out there.
That's what they said, yeah.
The teams in the Mountain West Conference, they are aware of it. They know what to expect. The guy's name is Lendeberg.
Yes, that's it.
Their big center. Yeah, he fouled out in the end. So did Davis, their other post player. And their third post player, Coleman, had 4. That is all Jaden Ledee.
It is.
That's all Jaden Ledee.
It's impossible to stop him going towards the hoop.
It was an unbelievably great performance today. I don't know how many different ways you can say he turned in a spectacular performance other than to just keep saying that. I mean, the points, the rebounds, it was the effect on the game. And when they fell behind in the second half by 3, a couple of different times, he made great shots to bring them back.
There was a couple fadeaways. There were some.
Those were tough shots.
Yeah, quick free throw line type shots, elbow shots.
Yeah, he had to hit those because otherwise UAB had the momentum. They might have been able to get some separation. So Jaden Ledee was, as I tweeted out after the game, 3rd team All-American? No. That was a first-team All-American performance. I'm sorry. And that's not Homer speaking. That's anybody who watched that game has to realize that guy's one of the best 5 players in the country.
Well, Zach Edey, we talk about him a lot because he is considered the best basketball player. But I haven't watched him enough to know. Can he take over a game on his own like that?
I think he can if they lob the ball up to him at the rim.
So he uses his height, which obviously he should.
But I don't know that he can dribble the ball at the free throw line and open himself up for a 15-foot jumper.
He's not doing like
I've never seen him do that. So, and if you miss a shot, he's 7'4". He can get the rebound and put it back in.
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me again, I don't want to pick on Zach Edey. He's going to be the player of the year the second year in a row. But who honestly do you think is going to make a better pro? Him or Jaden Ledee?
I'm not sure.
I am sure. I'm pretty sure it would be Jaden Ledee. But we'll see how that all turns out.
How tall is he?
Ledee?
Yeah.
6'9", 6'10".
Right, so he's tall enough.
He's monstrous,
Yeah,
though.
he is monstrous. Can you imagine? Like, does that guy just put a bunch of weights on his arms and then jump up to the hoop? Because he breaks through any sort of resistance that is put on him.
The thing is he was on the team last year, scored about 7 points a game.
Where was he?
He was there, but they had so many other guys. That's how much better last year's team was, honestly, than this year's, that they could have Jaden Ledee as a seventh player off the bench.
You know what I also...
This year, without Jaden Ledee, they might have only won 10 games.
That's true. Another thing that I noticed about the broadcast is they were talking about Brian Dutcher and talking about how they recruit guys now that they've been to the national championship. And one of the questions he asked people that he's recruiting is, what do you know about San Diego State basketball? And he said before last year, 9 times out of 10, Kawhi Leonard was the answer. And now it's, you guys almost won the national championship. And so that's an amazing sales pitch. And now that they're being watched by everybody because they went to the national championship, this team's just going to get better, Chris.
Well, the program is going to keep getting better.
Yes.
This year's team, again, they played, I thought, really well today. Can they get a little better on Sunday? They might have to,
yes,
in order to beat a team like Auburn. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the win. Ted Lightner, who called the game today up in Spokane, good friend of this program, nice enough to get back to me today. He will come on the show in a couple of hours. We'll get Ted's take on the victory today. Also, Mark Zegler, who is writing and was there, the great writer, of course, for the UT. He'll come on the show at some point. We're looking forward to that. We have a countdown. It's a Friday. We got a daily Gambit. We got a Big Five. Big Five's going to be a little early today.
Yes, it is.
We're going to hit the Big Five here in about a half an hour, catch you up with everything else that's going on in the sports world. When we come back, I'll give you a tournament scoreboard update. I don't know how your bracket's doing out there, but since we last spoke, mine has taken a lot of hits.
It's hanging on by a thread.
Mine has taken a lot of hits since the last time we spoke. We'll update the scores. Keep your bracket handy. The Aztecs 69, UAB 65. Survive and advance. More Gwynn and Chris coming up.
Never
All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Today, Chris Ello, Matt Scraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. The Aztecs advance. That's what it's all about. 69-65. They take out UAB today on to the second round. It is the 12th NCAA tournament victory in school history.
Just keep piling those up.
Steve Fisher had 6. Now Brian Dutcher has 6.
Awesome.
Not bad. Not bad for those that are still like to be critical and say, Dutcher just no Steve Fisher. Well, first of all, he is no Steve Fisher. Steve Fisher is such a spectacular, incredibly great human being that nobody's going to be Steve Fisher. But Brian Dutcher's been a pretty good facsimile.
Facsimile?
Yes.
That's
Do you like that?
I know. I've seen the word. Give me definition of
facsimile.
Word. Yes.
It's a long word for for a fax.
Oh.
It's
for like a fax machine?
But he's like him.
Okay.
He's facsimile. He's very similar to Steve Fisher. 6 wins for Dutch, 6 wins for Fish. Aztecs will play Sunday. Will they play Yale or will they play Auburn? Why not Yale? You know what I mean?
Last year.
It happened last year. Furman did the Aztecs a favor by knocking out Virginia. Right now, Auburn has a lead, but not by much, 36-32, 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. A couple of the games also in progress. UConn is about to finish it against Stetson. I guess Sean Paul's.
I thought about him today.
Scouting report of the great backcourt of Stetson didn't hold up today.
No, UConn also has another incredibly tall guy.
They're so good.
They're
good. Ridiculous. They're up by 40 with less than a minute to play. So count them as moving on. The Mountain West Conference. I'm going to have to call it the Mountain Worst. And that's my own it's my own conference.
I know.
But I can't defend it when every team in the Mountain West Conference other than the Aztecs gets boat raced. First it was Boise State, laid an egg. They got knocked out. Yesterday, Colorado State was awful.
Abysmal.
They were abysmal. Texas beat them easily. Nevada pulled one of the great choke jobs in tournament history.
Did you see Ben Higgins' tweet?
No.
It's like, congratulations, Steve Wolford. You just basically that is one of the biggest chokes in NCAA history.
It was. And now today, New Mexico.
Oh, that's worse than abysmal. Chris.
New Mexico was down to Clemson 32-14. And they have never gotten back in the game. There's less than a minute to play now. Clemson by 21. New Mexico doesn't even give it a shot. So the only teams left in the Mountain West Conference now are the Aztecs, thank you once again, and Utah State, which plays later against TCU. And they'll probably get crushed also.
Well, let's not say that.
The Mountain West, me, I try to defend them all the time. I'm sitting here going, look at the Mountain West, look at us. We got all these great teams. You can't go in there to the NCAA tournament with 6 squads and have them all get wiped out. So,
and especially your Mountain West tournament winner going to a tournament where they were on fire against the Aztecs, and they didn't even they didn't even show up today.
They didn't show up,
and they had a full 5 days, 6 days to get ready.
Yeah, it's over now. Clemson 77, New Mexico 56. There's one other game going right now. This is a really good game. Late in the first half, Florida leads Colorado 42-41. So you're updated on the scoreboard. Of course, last night, the big shocker, Oakland. And I'm thinking the people in the East Bay were thinking last night, wow, we won. Where is our school? They didn't realize that's not that Oakland.
You're not wrong, because growing up, when I saw Oakland, I was like, Mom, where is this college?
Where is that school? I want to go to a game.
I think it's in Michigan.
It is. It's in Michigan. But they did a number on Kentucky last night. Never breaks my heart to see John Calipari knocked out of the tournament.
We have a Big Five question about him, because he said, maybe I need to do something different here.
Well, look, he was the guy that started the old one and done. Yep. I don't know that he started it, but he was at the forefront of the one and done athlete.
He took full advantage.
And he did one and done, and he still does one and done. But now kids are staying in school because they make money in the NIL.
Yep.
So his one and done team looked like they were a deer in headlights last night.
They had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
This dude from Oakland, his name is I keep forgetting his name. It's Ryan Grokey or something.
Yeah, I could look it up, but I'm not really in the mood.
Okay. Well,
I mean, the guy hits 10 threes and he's hitting them falling down and off balance.
He's
and at
not
the end,
even a starter.
Yeah.
He's a bench guy. He averaged 12 points a game this year. He averaged
Did a little better than
37% field goal percentage this year.
Did a little better than that. His last name is Golke. Jack Golke.
Jack Golke. I thought it was really funny. I saw a tweet that says, "There's always one future accountant that roasts NBA lottery picks."
That's a good tweet. Yeah, Jack Golke will probably be a future accountant.
But good for him. He was having
and
fun.
all of those Kentucky guys will be in the NBA. But last night,
that goes to what we said a couple days ago. How annoying is it when someone who does nothing controls the game like he did?
That's why it's madness. That's what makes March great. He shot 10 of 20 from the arc, and he had 32 points. He said after the game, "We're not a Cinderella. We'll see." Their next game's against North Carolina State, which is an 11 seed.
They're not a Cinderella.
They kind of are, but he's saying that they're not. He's trying to.
They're a 14 seed.
Trying to pump his guys up.
I get it.
They're going to have a chance to go to the Sweet 16 because they play an 11 seed next. North Carolina State has come out of nowhere. Team that won 5 ACC tournament games in 5 days. You know where they finished in the standings in the ACC this year?
6th.
10th.
Oh, my gosh.
They were a 10th place team.
And now all of a sudden
they're playing for a shot to go to the Sweet 16.
That is, I will say, that is what I love about the tournament.
It's right. It makes dreams come true.
It does.
I mean,
seeing those guys all happy after the game, running back to the locker room, doing the whole thing where they put their name on the next round, which is
what
fun.
It comes down to.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take our second break of the day. Got to talk a little baseball. We'll get to all of that. Obviously, the Padres are off. Everybody's off.
They did get home.
They did get home safely. We did speak to Tony today. He groggingly called in to say hello.
He did.
But, they're back, and that's good. And everybody knows I'm not breaking any news, but there's no Fan Fest on Sunday.
Yeah, we talked about that last night.
Did you get
if
you get into some of that? I'm sure the fans are disappointed, but the rains are supposed to come in waves this weekend.
That's what I've been hearing.
So...
But if you want to go to Padres.com/fanfest, there's more information about that. Also, the Peter Seidler Celebration of Life has been moved up a couple hours. So the start of it now is 11 a.m. And as long as it's still the same as last night, the home plate gates open at 10 a.m.
Tomorrow morning.
For
the Peter Seidler Celebration of Life.
Yeah, but nothing on Sunday.
Yes, we mentioned the Fan Fest because we were supposed to broadcast live.
Yeah.
You and I. We are not going to be doing that because there's not going to be a Fan Fest.
People were really excited to come say hi to us because they said that they loved our fighting at 3 a.m. in the morning when we watched the Padres game in Game 1 at 7 Mile Casino.
We were fighting?
Yeah, you were blaming me for like streaming issues, and I was like, "It's too early, Chris.
It was your fault.
Can't
the streaming issues are always your fault." All right, Auburn 41, Yale 34, just before halftime. Winner of that game gets the Aztecs. We'll keep you up to date on that, but an early Big Five coming for you next. Gwynn and Chris. Good thing the Aztecs have Jaden Ledee and Lamont Butler on their side. The two of them lead San Diego State to a 69-65 win over UAB. A very tense second half. The Aztecs had a 12-point lead. That went away. Lamont Butler saw UAB take a 3-point lead on a couple of different occasions with about 4 or 5 minutes to go, but each time Ledee answered with big baskets. And then the Aztecs hit all their free throws down the stretch. The only one they missed down the stretch was the last one by Reese Waters after he had clinched the game by putting them up by 4. He missed the next one. But they made, I believe, 10 in a row between Ledee and Butler, and then Waters capped it off at the end.
Last 2 games, even the championship game against New Mexico, they've made the free throws.
16-20, 80% from the
That's
stripe.
not what we're used to from the Aztecs,
No,
honestly.
and they honestly needed every one of them. They needed them all to knock off a UAB team that had some shooters, including Butta Johnson. Man, that guy hit nothing but net. Some of those threes.
He was good. He was Butta, Chris.
He hit 5. The other Vasquez hit 2. But overall, one of the other keys was matching them in offensive rebounds. Both teams had 14 offensive rebounds, and that's the way UAB likes to score, is miss shots and get the ball back.
Yeah.
But the Aztecs, match them in that category. And that's normally a bit of a weakness for the Aztecs, but it wasn't today.
They looked like kind of a different team today.
I thought, like I said, you could sit there and look at the game and go, well, they're lucky and they got to play better next game. I don't think they were lucky. I think they played about as well as they can play, and hopefully they'll keep playing that way.
They were down late in the game.
Yeah.
They came back.
They hung
did what
in.
they needed to do. We all know about the late game struggles of the Aztecs over the last course of the season.
Yeah,
yes.
It's been difficult.
So they took care of that today.
They did. They shot 44% for the game, which is a good percentage for them. 27% from 3, which is pretty normal. But again, they don't have shooters. And making an open 3 is nice. But a shooter is somebody who can make a shot off the dribble with a hand in his face. The Aztecs don't have one of those. And without that,
a wrecking ball that they just throw.
They do have a wrecking ball. They do happen to have a wrecking ball.
Get him the ball and let him go towards the hoop.
Ledee, 32 points, 8 rebounds, a monster performance. They are at halftime. It is Auburn 41, Yale 34. The winner of that one will get the Aztecs on Sunday morning. I'll give you the official time when they have that. They haven't. I don't believe they've announced an official time for that game yet because the game hasn't been created yet.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait a little. Colorado and Florida is the other game that's ongoing right now. That's a real good one. Tied 45-45 at the half. All right. Early in the show today, we are going to do our Big Five because Ted Lightner and Mark Zegler are going to join us from Spokane a little later. So let's find out what else is going on, Scrabe.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Celebrate and save at Ashley's anniversary sale with Hot Buys. Your choice of color starting at just $399. Ashley sleep mattresses starting at $250. Plus, receive a free adjustable base with select mattress purchases only at Ashley. Now, one of the things about our show that is
number 5
unique about other shows in town, Chris, is that we have a full-fledged referee on the show. That would be you. You are a basketball referee.
We now go to our resident referee, Chris Cello.
And I stayed up late last night.
We basically on this show have our very own Gene Steratore.
Thank you.
Although he reffed at a little higher level than me.
Doesn't
he
matter.
Did the Final Four. He did the Super Bowl.
A foul is a foul.
Foul is a foul.
A travel is a travel.
That's
Doesn't
right.
matter.
Doesn't matter where you're reffing.
Yeah,
okay.
Whatever level, but we do have you on the show. And I waited up last night to see the end of the Kansas Samford game.
Yeah, Samford made a great comeback with a ton of three-pointers. I think they made 16 threes, Samford did.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that.
Oh, yeah. They were burying them.
That is crazy. I would like to speed up the end of the game a little bit. It took almost 35 minutes.
I told you.
2 minutes.
I told you, DVR, Scraby. You don't have to sit there.
I was
one of
really
these days.
upset.
One of these days, you're going to come around. You're going to fast forward through all that crap.
Yeah, I was really.
You're going to learn. You're going to learn.
But anyway, so that game happened last night. Kansas goes on to win, but there is a major controversy over it because of a call that was made. So here is the play as called on TV, and then I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
And then it's going to come down. Are they going to knock down their free throws?
90-89. Kansas gets the ball in. Ahead to Timberlake on the run.
It's a block.
And he missed the shot.
Did they call a foul?
He went for the.
And so they did call foul. What happened was Kansas inbounds the ball, and then I think his name's Timberlake, went over the top. They passed it to him. He had a pretty open layup, but the Samford guy comes back, and he kind of LeBron blocks it into the backboard.
Yeah.
But they call a foul, puts Kansas on the line. Kansas goes on to win. Everybody's very upset because Samford probably deserved to win that game.
Well, I don't know if they would have won. Keep this in mind. Had they not called a foul, Samford would have had the ball.
Right?
They would have had the ball, but they'd have still been behind by a point.
True.
But the fact that they called the foul was a big play in the game. So I will grant you that.
Now, the question on our chat, if you want to watch us on YouTube, you can just search 97.3 The Fan or go to Facebook or X 97.3 The Fan SD.
Okay.
But this one says, Chris, how would you have called that shot block play in the Samford Kansas game? That was a great block called a foul.
It was a beautiful
Samford
block.
Was robbed.
It was an absolute beautiful block, but I can't tell you that I wouldn't have called a foul. Because when you look at the play live, the kid goes up for the dunk. The guy behind him for Samford swats his arm across.
He does.
And you could be tricked into thinking that he must have made some contact in doing that. When we all see the slow motion instant replay, we see that the kid on Samford, while he swept his arm across, never touched arm, only touched ball.
Yes.
Gene Steratore, who was on the call, agreed. It was a great block.
Yeah.
But you can't blame the official there. You are running down the court as an official because the ball went over the top on the throw. You're not standing under the basket.
He is, though.
Oh, was he? They already had a guy down there?
He actually makes his way down court, which is different from other things because you're right.
Yeah,
but he's down there watching this play.
You take a swing like that at the ball, I'm liable to call a foul. That's all I can say. Would I have got it wrong? Yeah. But that's the nature of officiating. You can't call you can't call timeout if you're the official and go, let me look at that.
Yeah.
Everybody else got to look at that. So I feel bad for Samford because it was a great block. But I've told a lot of kids this in high school when they tell me, ref, I got all ball. And I'll say, yeah, but you swung your arm like you didn't get all ball.
And what do they say? I got all ball.
Yeah, they're not happy with me, but that's the explanation.
Yeah.
When you swing the arm, and he had to swing the arm. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I mean, it was a desperation attempt to block the shot.
To save the game.
And he blocked it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an incredible play. But, in the NBA, they probably would have let that go because you're used to seeing that kind of stuff from the likes of LeBron and the likes of whoever. But in college, man, that play, in your mind as a ref, you say, God, that he had to get a piece of the arm.
He just went down so violent, too.
And he went down hard, right? After he missed the shot, he went down hard. So
but all he did was really push the basketball into the hoop, and then the momentum of hitting the hoop.
Yes, but in real time, I can understand how the foul was called. And the Samford coach was very classy. Afterwards, he said, I'm not going to blame the game on that. It was a tough call.
Yeah.
They missed it, but it was tough.
It's you can't leave a play that close to decide your game if you're really going to come down to that. Don't let the guy beat you down the floor in the first place. Good point. But it was an incredible block.
Oh yeah, too bad for Samford. I mean, that would have been another great upset last night.
Number 4.
So, sitting in the hometown arena of Kentucky's men's basketball coach John Calipari was pretty shell-shocked after his number 3 seeded Wildcats lost 80-76 to number 14 seed Oakland. Calipari is now 1-4 in his past 5 NCAA tournament games, matching the program's worst 5-game span in the tournament. And Calipari considered what last night's loss could mean for his approach to constructing the team's roster. He said, quote, "I've done this with young teams my whole career, and it's going to be hard for me to change that. Because we've helped so many young people and their families that I don't see myself just saying, okay, we're not going to recruit freshmen," Calipari said. So I'm up first. Some are saying it's time for Calipari to move on. What do you think should happen? I think he needs to look into his recruiting, because what Chris said earlier, we just kind of talked about it. Kentucky is getting outplayed by teams that are having players stay. They're getting more used to the college game, and they're just not – the physical talent isn't able to make them win anymore like it used to. But he needs to think about it. Should they fire him? Probably not. He's John Calipari.
Yeah, here's the thing. Calipari is correct when he says he's done a lot of great things for a lot of young people and young families by getting them scholarships and getting them to college and giving them a chance to go on in the NBA. But the appearance from the outside is that Calipari just uses these kids for a year and then ships them off and then uses another batch of kids for a year. And so it's not a great look. And the bottom line is the game is changing, because it's always changing. And the great coaches, Dean Smith, Bobby Knight, Mike Krzyzewski, Steve, whoever you want to name that's been around it forever, they change with the times. Mm-hmm. That's how they stay successful. Don Shula, had the greatest running attack in NFL history. 10 years later, he had the greatest passing attack ever. That's how you become great. You have to change with the times. So, yeah, I agree. Calipari's got to change or get out, because the one and done thing is going to be troublesome moving forward.
It will be. It will be. I didn't realize they were playing in their own stadium, though.
They were not.
That's what the article said.
No, the article's wrong.
Okay.
There's no way Kentucky played a home game in the NCAA
That's what
tournament.
I was thinking.
No, nobody plays a home game.
So the article was wrong.
The article was wrong. Let me just double check this. They played their game in Pittsburgh.
Okay, well, that's not even close to Kentucky article. Maybe it's his hometown.
Whatever.
You know what I will say, Chris? I'm going to take the blame for this one. I went with it when I shouldn't have.
Number 3.
Many believe Marvin Harrison Jr. is the top wide receiver in the NFL draft this year. He didn't take part in any drills at the Combine. He did not show up to his media obligation at the Combine, and he did not do anything at Ohio State's Pro Day, citing he has already shown enough on tape. Sources close to him are saying he favors going to the Arizona Cardinals over the Commanders and the Patriots, because most think those two teams are going to take quarterbacks. The first 3 teams are going to take quarterbacks. Chris, do you think the Cardinals would be a good spot for him?
Kyler Murray?
No. Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, but Kyler Murray's there.
Yes, yeah.
Commanders, who do they have? No one.
A rookie that's about to be drafted?
Right. Who is the Patriots? No one.
No one.
Yeah, so the Cardinals probably the best bet, rather than break in a new quarterback. And all of that stuff you said about Marvin Harrison not showing up to any of that stuff, I don't blame him.
Really?
Nah, that stuff's a bunch of malarkey, and I've told you it 1,000 times. The most important thing about a player's ability is to watch what they do in games. And I've seen enough of Marvin Harrison to know that he can get open and he can catch. He doesn't have to run a drill in this stupid combine to convince me of that.
I agree with you there, but I think there is something to doing what everyone else does. You're not special.
But he is. He's a little special.
Okay, he's special at playing football, but he is not himself as a human being more special than I am or you are.
I am going to agree with you there, but you know what? A lot of guys have to go to the Combine to show off,
and that's fine.
What they can do. Marvin Harrison does not.
People have different paths. I understand that, but I don't know why this bothers me.
To me, if he goes to the Combine, he can only hurt himself, drop a couple balls, etc. He's already at the top of the board. Why risk it?
So, wait. If he drops a few balls at the Combine, you're going to rate him lower?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. What do they have the Combine for? Stupid.
I hate it. For scouts to see guys in person, I think.
Hate the Combine. You know that.
Brandon did confirm that it was Calipari is outside of Pittsburgh, his hometown.
Got it.
Sorry
okay.
about that.
That's all right.
Sorry about
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. I met Brandon at the thing the other night. It was great.
The thing. Good.
The watch party. That feels like 3 weeks ago, even though it was 2 days ago.
No kidding. That does seem like it was a while ago.
Number 2.
Jackson Holliday, the 20-year-old phenom, Orioles' top prospect, is not going to be starting the season with the big league club, the Orioles announced. Holliday made a strong case to make the major league roster this spring, going 6 for 14 with 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and 2 steals in Grapefruit League action. He also had a successful minor league season last year when he played from A all the way up to AAA. So I'm up first. Are you surprised he won't be making the opening day roster? I am surprised with all the guys that are making their debuts and the hype around him. I figured they would want him up on the big league team, but I kind of like what they're doing. Make sure he's really, really, really ready for this. And we've seen it before. We've talked about it before. Guys go up, lose confidence, and it hurts them in the long run. So Jackson Holliday, I said something on the Scraby Show 2 weeks ago about him being a little bit disappointing this spring, and I take it back, Chris.
Yeah, he was really good this spring. But here's the thing. The Orioles have a guy named Jordan Westberg who plays third base, also can play second base. They have Jorge Mateo. They have Colton Wong, the former, solid big league second baseman who's, a little on in his career. But so my point is they have options here. And the only thing about bringing about Jackson Holliday for opening day is that there's going to be a circus around him.
True.
An absolute circus.
That's a good point.
Now, you will have some circus when you bring him up, but not the same as opening day.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, let him relax for a month or so, whatever it is. Get his swing in order. Yeah, all in good time. How old is he? 12?
20.
Yeah, well,
remember when Alden Gonzalez...
I'm sorry, but Alden Gonzalez said he looked 12. So I'm going with that.
No, he did. What I'm saying is Alden Gonzalez said he looks 12, but he plays like he's 25.
Yeah, no, he's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart move by the Orioles, and they have other options.
And if they start losing, they can bring them up earlier if they really want to.
Sure.
But they're probably going to be pretty good this year.
Number 1.
All right. So a professor from Duquesne University is going viral after he canceled class for his students.
Where is he at? Duquesne or Duquesne?
It's not Duquesne.
Come on.
Duquesne. A professor from Duquesne.
They're my new second favorite team after
University
they beat BYU.
Is going viral again after he canceled class for his students following the big win in the NCAA tournament. Professor Robert Healy III. I guess if you're a professor, you have to be the third.
Yeah.
He shared his
Robert Healy. And you never go by the name of Bob.
No,
when you're a professor.
You say Bob, ooh,
you got to be Robert.
You can get punched in the face.
Got to be Robert.
He shared his message to his students on social media with the subject line of, quote, class canceled due to March Madness. That's what he kind of sounded like Hannibal Lecter, apparently.
Right.
And saying, go celebrate, I'll figure it out. So long story short, Chris, what is one event that you would have to take the day off of work the next day for? Outside of the NCAA or outside the Aztecs winning it all.
Oh, so you're telling me something good happens in sports and I am so excited that I take the next day off?
Correct.
You know what I'm going to answer here, and you're not going to like it.
Can't be Aztecs.
No, it's not going to be anything. I show up. I post. Don't tell me I don't post.
I'm not telling you that.
I travel late night all the time.
I know.
Get home in the middle of the night. I post.
You do.
There's nothing. There's nothing. Maybe the birth of a child, but I don't have a birth of a child, so.
Maybe we should make that happen.
Maybe you might want to get Lori in on this.
Yeah, that would help.
No, I think that is maybe something, but there's no sporting event. I love coming in and talking about sports after whatever happens.
I think that's where it's different. Is that
I got to go and say I'm going to post. Sorry.
I think that's where it's different for us because our job is to talk about those things.
I had thumb surgery and you guys wouldn't let me come in.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
But I wanted to come in.
You were all hopped up on Vicodin.
I was ready to come in, baby, and be my best Rob Manfred.
That's what he was doing. He was like, guys, what's up? What are we doing now?
I just had my thumb surgery.
For me, I post as well.
You do. You're a poster.
Well, I'm a poster, but I would have to say, no, I think even if the 49ers won the Super Bowl, I think my best place to be would be here.
If the 49ers won the Super Bowl, I would root for you to stay away
because
so I didn't have to put up with you.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have any things that you guys would miss it for on the chat,
but
or on Twitter,
I get what this professor's doing. It's a big deal for the school.
Of course.
It's not the end of the world.
Of course.
Enough guys are going to miss class on their own.
I didn't go to class anyway, so
yeah.
Maybe that's why I went to 5.
I was going to say I never had a professor cancel one of my classes because I wasn't paying attention enough to know that he might have canceled one of my classes.
Chris, I'm not kidding you. I went to when I was a little bit too much of a partier.
Right.
I never went to class, but the only days I went to class were the days that the class wasn't being held. So
You showed up when there was no class.
and there's no class.
Yeah.
Brutal.
All right.
Brutal.
Good Big Five. Good
Thanks.
good Big Five. There was one other quick note on the NCAA tournament. We have a second here.
Okay.
Or are we at the top?
No, go for it.
Mark Few was ticked off last night, and he had every right to be. Gonzaga played their game last night, and I want to look to see where they were actually playing before I go off on. Okay, they were in Salt Lake City, and they were blowing out whoever it was, McNeese.
Yes.
But during the second half of that game, on the big scoreboard overhead, they were showing live coverage of the Oakland, Kentucky game. People were cheering for Oakland in the Salt Lake Arena while they were you know what I mean? Because they were watching. No, they're not even in the same bracket.
That makes no sense.
Neither Oakland nor Kentucky is in Salt Lake City. Because it was a good game, they thought they would show the fans this. It was completely taking away from the experience for the Gonzaga and McNeese players.
Yeah, that's
very bad move, NCAA, and very
weird.
correct Mark Few to be upset about it.
That is a weird move. Why try to? I mean, you're at a game. You're watching a game.
If you wanted to see the Oakland, Kentucky game, watch it on your phone or go elsewhere.
Seriously.
But don't put it on the scoreboard. Bad move. Weird. All right, Daily Gambit next. We'll update you on NCAA tournament games. Here comes Yale. Hey, welcome into Gwynn and Chris, hour number 2 of our Friday get-together. It's finally a Friday, and the Aztecs are on into the second round of the NCAA tournament. As I said earlier, my wife called from work right after the game, and she said, too close for comfort. Mm-hmm. She knew that I was probably going absolutely crazy in the front room watching the end of that game, and I was.
In the front room. I love it.
Front room? What should I have called it?
No, I don't know. What do you like? What do you like? Tony have like 18 rooms to watch TV in?
You have been to my house. How many rooms do I have? About
I think
4?
Like 3.
Yeah, I have a front room, a kitchen, and a bedroom. Those are my rooms. So, but yeah, I was sweating it out a little bit. I think all Aztec fans were, but they prevailed in the end. Anytime you tell me that the Aztecs have to make 9 or 10 straight free throws down the stretch to clinch a game,
it's nervous.
It's pretty nerve-wracking, but they made them. Jaden Ledee mostly. Lamont Butler hit a couple of big ones. The Aztecs led by 12 in the second half, but could they make it easy on us? No, of course not. They had to go into one of their famous slumps where they didn't make a basket for about a half an hour. UAB came back. Butta Johnson shooting the lights out for UAB. His name is Butta.
Yep.
He hit 5 threes, put them ahead. They were actually up by 3 a couple of different times, UAB.
They were.
But every time they got
too.
up, Ledee answered with a difficult shot at the other end. And then they hit some free throws and got some stops to win the ball game 69-65. So next up for the Aztecs, will it be Yale or Auburn? That is still very much to be determined. We have 15 minutes, 39 seconds to go in that game. Yale just took a brief lead. Now Auburn has hit 2 free throws, and it is Auburn 45, Yale 44. Like I said,
good game.
Like I said last year when Furman knocked out Virginia, I'm not proud. I don't care who the Aztecs have to beat to advance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
They got a lot of things fall their way last year. Furman beat Virginia. Arizona got knocked out early. They ended up having to play Creighton instead of them. Florida Atlantic was in Purdue's spot.
Yep.
I mean, they got some lucky breaks.
Yeah.
But does anybody go back to last year and go, the only reason we made the final is because they got lucky? No. You look back on last year and say it was the greatest thing you've ever seen.
Lucky breaks are supposed to happen to the teams that go far in the tournament. You
part of
can't
it.
go far if you don't get lucky breaks.
Part of it. It's a little part of it. But anyway, Yale and Auburn right now, we'll keep an eye on that. The other game is really good, too. 14 minutes left. Colorado 59, Florida 58. So there's 2 really good games going right now. There's the only 2 in the bracket. By the way, Scrabe,
what?
Quick bracket update. You are very, very good so far. 16-6. You are leading along with who else? My wife at 16-6. She's remarkable at this.
Yes.
I'm 14-8. So you got a 2-game lead over me right
nothing.
now. It's early.
It's
early in the
Kentucky.
bracket.
You know what's going to help me
everybody took Kentucky, right?
Well, I took them far.
Oh, you did. Yeah, that may hurt you.
But the only thing that's going to save me is if Dayton keeps winning. Because if Dayton keeps winning, I'm scoring points that a lot
nobody
of
else is scoring.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Well, the bracket, like I said, when I left here yesterday, I was feeling pretty good. I was like 10-2 or something. But my bracket's taken a lot of hits.
It makes me
since yesterday.
It makes me feel weird when I look at my bracket and then there's one quadrant that has all green on it, and then there's another quadrant that just looks like a big red mess because I've gotten every game wrong.
Yeah, I use a yellow highlighter to put my team when they advance.
Okay.
A lot of yellow yesterday morning. I haven't used the highlighter much since then.
Let me see.
It's a little light.
Oh, okay.
It's a little light.
Hey, it looks better than the red, let me tell you.
All right. We got winners. We got losers. Mostly losers when it comes to the Daily Gambit today. We'll fill you in right now.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Got to let you know about this before we get into it, but you can join 97.3 The Fan on Thursday, March 28th for the Padres home opener versus the San Francisco Giants. We'll be broadcasting live from Baja Rick's Cantina, located on the corner of 6th and L in the Gas Lamp. Festivities kick off at 6 a.m. with Ben Woods, followed by Annie and Elston from 10 a.m. to noon. We'll be giving away tickets to the Padres-Cardinals game on April 2nd. Plus, there will be Blue Moon, Coors Light, and Topo Chico specials and breakfast served from 6 to 10 a.m. That's Thursday, March 28th at Baja Rick's Cantina on the corner of 6th and L in the Gas Lamp, brought to you by Blue Moon. Celebrate responsibly. On the chat, Chris, we had Sandy said these 3 a.m. games this week have made it feel like it's been Friday the past 3 days. Absolutely true.
Well,
I'm struggling.
I told you when the week started, everybody.
I'm struggling.
I told everybody, if you didn't listen to me, it's on you. I told everybody at the beginning of the week, take Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off this week.
You're right. We should
You had
have.
Padres, and today you had Aztecs. You should not be working.
I should have called in sick yesterday because I was so incredibly tired.
Yeah.
I hate
But you
that.
post.
I do, but I don't know how great I was. Yesterday, I went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, and we'll see where today goes.
There's another game.
Yes, there.
There's always another game.
All right, Daily Gambit. Let's go to the bets that we made yesterday, and we started with Texas and Colorado State. Texas were 3-point favorites in this game, and they won. Texas won 56-44. So we got those wrong.
I'm never betting on a Mountain West team in the tournament again.
Except for the Aztecs.
Yeah, they're the only. Well, they didn't even cover too.
No, that's true. True.
Yeah.
Kansas minus 7.5 last night against Stanford. We talked about this. Kansas won, but they did not cover, so we get this one wrong again, and because they won 93-89, and weren't even close. SDSU minus 7 over UAB. Chris chose the Aztecs. I chose the Aztecs. Aztecs win by 4, but do not cover.
Yeah, another loss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just loss today.
I think this is my only win of the day, but it's UAB scoring 10 points first, or who scores 10 points first in the game. You said UAB, I said Aztecs, and I got it right because the Aztecs did.
The Aztecs got to 10 first, and, that's been a big problem for them, is trailing early in the game by wide margins. That did not happen today. They were ahead throughout the first half. In fact, UAB never got a lead until midway through the second half. So that was good to see. But, the Aztecs got to 10 first.
New Mexico, they played Clemson. New Mexico was actually favorites in this game by 2.5 points.
They sure didn't look like they were a favorite.
When I looked last, we both chose New Mexico because we thought they played so incredible in the Mountain West Championship. But the last I looked, it was 71-52 Clemson. Haven't seen the final score.
They won by 21.
Okay,
so it was ugly.
Last one, Denver Nuggets, 8-point favorites over the Knicks. We both chose the Knicks. We both shouldn't have because the Nuggets won by 13. It was a bad day for me.
Well, you were 1-5, and that was good compared to my 0-6. I'd like to see somebody try to get them all wrong. Not that easy.
It's not easy to get those wrong.
I went 0-6, and I had been having a great week. I was 11-4 going into yesterday.
Well,
now I'm 11-10.
Well, you're still ahead.
Yes, you are no better. You're 8-13.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yesterday hurt us badly.
What was it last week? I was pretty good.
You were great last week.
See, this is what betting does.
Do you want to update everybody on our NCAA tournament pool?
Yes,
we
I
have
do.
over 130 entries.
Yes.
You've got 16 points so far, as we just mentioned a little bit ago. I have 14. Who is leading the pool right now?
And by
I'm
the
sure
way,
it's neither you or I.
I have received many messages about the name of the pool, which is Gwynn and Chris Bracket Challenge. Yes, I know there's an E at the end of challenge, but what happened was...
You didn't spell it right?
No, what happened was there's a character limit, and I didn't check it, and so I saved it, and it's challenge without the E, and so people are having
so
fun
everybody's
with that.
giving you a hard time.
All right, so right now we have 5 teams in first. We have Rigo, Johnny, Dan, Valerie, and John. They all have 19 points.
19?
Guess who's at the top of the second place? Adam
Klug.
18 points. Anita, 18 points. Clint,
All right.
18 points. Basically,
Pretty good.
yeah.
That's good picking out there.
I'm not even on the.
You're
on
16.
The
I'm 14, but
All
19
right.
out of 22 is very, very good.
Very good. Let me see what they did for their champion. They did the leader did Connecticut.
Okay,
so we'll keep an eye.
Most smart people did. All right, here are our picks for today. Let's see if we can turn things around. A little later this afternoon, our friends, the Alabama Crimson Tide,
NATO's
taking on Charleston in the first round.
I hear this could be a barn
It's
burner.
a 4-13 matchup. Of course, Charleston gave the Aztecs a very tough time last year. Alabama scores a ton of points, like 100 per game. Alabama's favored by 9. You know I'm taking Charleston here. Alabama's going to have memories of the Sweet 16.
I think so.
And they're going to get nervous, and Charleston's going to whoop them.
Oh, that's where you're going. I was going to say that they're going to avenge the Sweet 16.
No, they're not avenging anything.
I think Alabama.
You're going to take them.
It hasn't. I know that some of the lower seeds have won, but it hasn't been so
It hasn't
far
been
too
chaos.
lower seed heavy.
Hasn't been chaos yet. Also later today, TCU -4 against Utah State. I don't know how you pick a team in the Mountain West Conference now.
I know.
Are you giving the TCU Braden Soprano sign?
I always do it wrong. But
You
yes,
love
it's
that.
supposed
Yeah,
to
you
be
don't
the
do it
frog.
right. You're first. I mean,
TCU.
the Utah State is holding the dwindling flag of the Mountain West Conference. Only 2 teams are left, the Aztecs and them.
I'm going to keep my pride in the Mountain West. I'm gonna
You're
say
going to
Utah
go
State.
Utah State?
Yeah.
God, I think Utah State is – I think they're not very good.
They won the regular season.
They're going down. TCU
Okay.
will beat them handily.
So you're a Horned Frog.
The Mountain West will be down to 1 team after the first round this year. That'll be us. Saving the day again. Later tonight, good game here. St. Mary's 6.5 over Grand Canyon. We had our buddy Sean Paul from the Field of 68. He was really high on Grand Canyon. Any Aztec fan will tell you that Grand Canyon is really good. They got some athletes.
Mm-hmm.
St. Mary's 6.5 point favorite. I need St. Mary's in my bracket, but since when did that ever stop me from losing? I'll take Grand Canyon here. Plus
Grand
6.5.
Canyon
That's a lot of
University.
points for them, I think.
There you go.
Who do you like?
I was gonna say Grand Canyon, but isn't a lot of their success because they have one of the best home courts?
They do. They have a great home court advantage there. Their fans are crazy.
Rabid.
Yeah, crazy.
I'll go St. Mary's.
All right, take the Gales.
The Gales, yes.
You're a Bay Area guy. Women's game tomorrow. The women's tournament is underway. We haven't talked a lot about it yet. Defending champion LSU opened with a victory over Rice. Just went final a little bit ago. It's funny. I heard somebody mention this the other day. Men's tournament, coming into the tournament, everyone knows Zach Edey. We know Jaden Ledee, but who else does anybody really know?
Not many.
Women's tournament, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins.
A lot.
Right? Paige Beckers.
Yeah.
The bigger stars are actually in the women's tournament.
That's true. I didn't think about it like that.
Great for women's basketball.
It is.
Opening round game tomorrow. Creighton is a 2.5 point favorite over the Mountain West champion, UNLV. UNLV is a 10 seed despite a 30-2 record and complete dominance over the last 2 years.
Am I first?
You're first.
I'm going to have to say UNLV. There's something strange about UNLV's seeding, so I'm going to say
They're a 10 seed.
they're going to win.
Again, I have to root for the Mountain West because it's good for the Aztecs. I'm not really a big fan of that UNLV team, but I am a fan of how good they are.
Yeah.
And I think they can win a game this year, so I'll take them also. One more in the men's tonight. I put this in, or no, for tomorrow.
Okay.
It's a second round game, not tonight. Second round game tomorrow. I put this in for you. Arizona 9.5 over Dayton. Your Dayton Flyers. I'm impressed with Dayton. I mean, you're down 17 and you come back like that. You got to feel like maybe it's your year. Arizona can be so good, but so maddening.
Yes.
At times. I'm going to take Dayton.
Wow.
I know you're taking Dayton.
Yeah, because Arizona every single year screws me. There you go. Dayton.
That was a little harsh, but
Why?
okay.
They do. Every year I pick them to go far thinking, oh, this is going to be Arizona's year, and then they are out in the
Well,
first
maybe
round.
this will be the year that they go far now that you've
Picked against them?
picked
Yes,
against them.
probably.
Lakers 7.5 over Sixers tonight at
Oh, we got one more.
the Crypto.
Lakers 7.5 over the Sixers. Yes.
Lakers?
Yes. Sixers are so bad.
Sixers are bad. I'll take them in a surprise. Philadelphia.
All right.
Take the points there. Update scoreboard, 11.5 to play. Colorado 68, Florida 63. Update scoreboard, Auburn 55, Yale 48. So Auburn's gone back up by 7, 11 minutes to go. In that game, former Aztec, Chad Baker-Mazzara, played with the Aztecs, now plays with Auburn, was ejected for a flagrant 2 foul. He threw an elbow in the first half.
All right.
I don't know if that means that he would be ineligible to play in the game Sunday if they get there.
Yeah.
But when you're ejected for a flagrant 2 foul, you're out of this game.
Yes.
But will he be out for another game?
Like targeting where maybe you sit out the first half.
I don't think that would be the case.
That'll be interesting to see.
He averages 10 points a game. We remember him here. He's a good player, but he got the flagrant 2 for an elbow out of that game.
By the way, when I was trying to figure out the name of the 3-point shooter for the Aztecs,
From a few years ago?
yes,
You said Max somebody, and I'm like, who's that?
It hit me on the way home from work. Max Montana. Remember Max Montana? He made a ton of threes.
I don't remember him.
You don't remember him?
For the Aztecs?
Yeah, he was with like Malik Pope and Trey Kell and that.
Max Montana.
Yes.
Wow.
I think he shot a ton of threes.
All right. I'll have to check in with Ted Lightner when we have him on the show a little later. Mark Zegler will also join us from Spokane, so we'll have complete coverage of the Aztecs win a little later in the show. More Gwynn and Chris follows after traffic.
From the night.
right, about 7 minutes left in the Auburn-Yale game. Yale's, hanging in there. They're trailing by 7, 68-61. Favor of Auburn. Winner gets the Aztecs on Sunday. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris Crisello. Mr. Scraby, 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr. idle today after making the trip home from South Korea with the Padres yesterday. The other game in progress, Colorado 79, Florida 72, about 7 minutes to go in that game. So keep an eye on your brackets. We'll keep an eye on them for you. Those are the two games that are in progress at this hour.
At this hour, yes.
At this hour. We got a couple of baseball stories to share with you because, after all,
I'm getting into the mood.
Somebody bring me over some Cracker Jacks.
I'll give you a hot dog.
I'll tell you one thing. I won't eat the Cracker Jacks. I haven't eaten a Cracker Jack probably in 45 years.
Has anyone eaten a Cracker Jack?
Really?
In 45
I know
years?
it's a big deal, but I just don't even like them. Sorry, Cracker Jack, if you're out there.
Like, honestly,
I really don't like them. Here's a
Didn't
couple.
they have a prize in the bottom of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while since I've eaten one of those. Maybe I should go get some. We'll eat some next week.
I'm not eating one because I know my stomach will go in disrepair. A couple of Major League Baseball notes. We got one on Juan Soto that you may find interesting in a second. First, Eduardo Rodriguez, big free agent signing by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Will have to wait to make his debut. He has a lat strain. I know that you love stuff like that. Like, to you, a lat strain is like nothing. You should just keep playing.
Until I have a lat strain and then I can't get out of bed.
But he's got a lat strain. He's going to open the season on the injured list. Rodriguez was real good last year, 13-9 for the Tigers, 3.30. So that's a big-time left-hander the Diamondbacks will not have at the beginning of the season. We told you Jackson Holliday has been sent down by the Orioles. He'll open the season in the minor leagues. Holliday did all right this spring, but Orioles want to take their time with this future star. Astros starter Justin Verlander going to throw BP next week.
Oh.
41 years old. The Astros are going to regret giving him all that money, right? You and I are in agreement on that.
I think so.
I mean, he's breaking down. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I don't want the guy to break down. He just is.
Did the Astros give him the money or did the Mets give him the money and the Astros took the contract?
Took him, yeah. That could be it.
I think that's even worse.
A couple of other prospects. I'm hearing unbelievable things about Wyatt Langford of the Texas Rangers.
I've heard some things too.
Yeah, he's apparently going to just be a great slugger. Grand slams, 5 home runs this spring. He is going to make the opening day roster, as is Jackson Chourio of the Milwaukee Brewers. Chourio is very similar to Jackson Merrill of the Padres, except they're both center fielders and they're both rookies and they're both going to be starting an opening day.
All right.
Chourio is 20 years old. How old is Jackson Merrill?
20 years old.
All right. You want any more? I just said they're very similar, and they're very similar, and you go, how so? I just gave you like 14 reasons why they're similar.
What's their favorite cereal?
Captain Crunch, of course, just like everybody else.
I'll buy it.
All right. So there's a couple of quick notes. The other one is on Juan Soto. I'll let Scraby deliver this news about the former Padre, now Yankee diva. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Diva.
I don't know what to make of this.
Scraby doesn't like this stuff.
But I also have learned more. I'll present both things.
If Tony was here, he would get mad at me for saying diva, and he would get mad at you for reading the story the way you're going to read it. But since
he's probably right.
But since he's probably right. But since he's not here, we can both pretend that Juan Soto is a diva.
All right. So Yankees reporter Brian Hawk, not the Mike Hawk that was on Twitter a couple years ago, but this guy actually does report for the Yankees. He said Juan Soto. Okay, let me start this over. The Yankees are going to Mexico City to play 2 exhibition games on Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
Juan Soto is not making the trip to Mexico City. Aaron Boone said that Soto will remain behind in Tampa to continue working on his swing. Also, they said the Yankees roster for Mexico City hasn't been finalized because players keep, quote unquote, dropping off, according to Aaron Boone. Biggest names remaining: Giancarlo Stanton, Verdugo, Trevino, and Volpe.
I don't care about any of those guys. Let's get back to Juan Soto. He's not going on the trip
to work on his swing
because he has to work on his swing.
Which,
now, with all due diva respect to Juan Soto, are you going to tell me that you can't work on your swing with the team in Mexico?
I think you can.
Is it against the law to swing a bat down there?
I think that he actually should be working with the team, unless the hitting coach is staying back, unless all the major league guys are staying back.
I don't get that. I don't get that. But then again, Juan Soto does his own thing.
He does.
And that's why I'm calling him a diva.
I don't think that – I think that he thinks – and I'm putting words into his mouth, but I think he thinks he's going to get $500 million, no questions asked. There's not going to be even anyone blinking at that ask. But I think there's going to be some teams that aren't going to do that.
Well, he's getting this money right now with the Yankees. He is regarded as the greatest player in the history of the sport. But I don't believe he's anywhere close to being a great teammate. And I agree with you, Scraby. I'm old school. Your team's going to Mexico City, you go to Mexico City.
Yeah.
You don't get to
Team
stay
building,
home.
Remember?
You don't get to stay home and work on your swing, which is clearly, even Tony would agree, it's clearly something you can do while you're in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the surroundings of Tampa in order to work on your swing.
And what is he going to do?
Silly.
Pick up a bat and swing like 3 times?
It's kind of silly.
No, I'm just kidding. I know that he's working.
No, I know it's a big deal, but you're right. The coaches will most likely be in Mexico City. So how's he going to work on his swing when he's not there?
Oh, Brandon has a really great point on the chat. If you want to watch us, just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube. After the offense, the Padres put him in Mexico City last year. I can't think of a better place to work on his swing. That's a good point.
Very good, Brandon.
I mean, if he's hitting home runs, it's going to make his swing even better.
Everybody knows the place I'm coming from here. I'm not a Juan Soto fan. So I'm always looking for stuff to back my point.
I'm not as
and this is going to back my point.
I'm not as serious about it as you, but I do think this stuff is like, why? What? And maybe there's more that we don't know, and that could be the truth, but
could be.
On surface level is weird.
5:14 left, Auburn by 6 over Yale. Still a chance for Yale to pull it out. Colorado, 8 points up on Florida. 7 minutes to go there. We're taking a quick timeout. When we come back, we have our countdown. That kind of jumped up on me, Scraby. I don't really, you know what? I'm Tony prepared right now for the countdown.
Tony does,
sometimes he does his countdown at the last minute.
He does.
I'm going to be doing mine at the last minute today.
Get over here.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
It's next.
What are we doing, by the way?
Next. All right, it's getting tense. Getting tense here in the Odyssey Palace studios. Not going to lie, I'm rooting for Yale big time. Like I said earlier, if the Aztecs are to have to play on Sunday, which they are, I'd rather draw the 13th seed Yale than a really talented Auburn. But right now, Auburn leads, but only by 4.
Yeah, Auburn looks good, though.
They do. That's what I'm saying. So I'd love to see Yale pull this out. 70-66 Auburn, 3:29 to play. We will certainly keep you up to date. Meanwhile, Colorado has opened up a little breathing room on Florida, 94-84. Excuse me, Colorado, 3:53 to play there. So 2 pretty good games here this afternoon. The other 6 from earlier today, including the Aztecs victory over UAB, 69-65. All those games are final. There's 8 more games tonight, and we're going to keep – God darn it.
We're going to keep our eye on it, Chris. Okay, well, that was the cough button.
You know
there.
what I did is I coughed, then I hit the button and said, I should use the cough button. I did that completely backwards is what I did.
At least you have a cough button. I don't even have one.
I'd messed that up. All right, sorry about that. We got a countdown, though. It is basketball season. So our countdown has to do with basketball. But first, a check of traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
This report brought to you by Spiro's. 5 north at Loma Santa Fe, a wreck on the shoulder. You'll be on your brakes coming out of Torrey Pines. 15 north at Rancho Bernardo, a crash on that shoulder. It's stop and go from Pomerado into Escondido. 94 east at Jefferson, an earlier accident cleared to that shoulder. You're jammed from Lyons. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. I'm Vicki Pepper with Gwen and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Scraby, let's go to our countdown. Topic today, greatest basketball movies. Might as well. It's March Madness right now.
Yes, it is.
Going to count down our top 5 basketball movies of all time. I will tell you, in putting this countdown together, a bit hastily, but still putting it together, there really aren't a lot of all-time classic basketball movies.
No, mine are going to be silly, I think.
You're going to go silly.
Well, because those are the ones that I've liked.
All right, well, it's your list, so you can go however you want. Auburn 70, Yale 68. 2:53 to go.
Number 5.
Pins and needles in that game.
I know.
We'll keep you up to date as we count them down, starting with number 5. Scraby, what do you have?
First, I would like to tell everybody on the chat, if you have a movie, please let us know. We already have Hoosiers in Sunset Park. I've never seen Sunset Park. I also have to give you some honorable mentions. Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell
is hilarious.
I thought it was stupid.
It is stupid, but it's hilarious.
Well, it can't be both.
Yes, it can.
Really?
Yes. And then a Marlon Wayans or Damon Wayans movie from back when I was a kid, The Sixth Man. He's in college and his brother dies, and then his
I thought you were going to go.
I
thought you were going to go with Celtic Pride. Wasn't that the one where he got? That's on your list?
Just wait.
Oh my goodness. All right, here we go.
My actual number 5 is Air Bud. I love this movie. It is a basketball movie because Air Bud does play basketball in the movie, has valuable life lessons. It makes you feel good, and Air Bud's amazing.
Air Bud.
Have you ever seen it?
Who is it? Yeah, I think I have. Who is the star of Air Bud?
Air Bud.
Mr.
Mr. Bud.
Mr. Bud.
Yes.
You don't have a name for the dog?
His name is Bud.
All right.
I'm going to look this
Air
up,
Bud.
though.
That's not great.
Wait a second.
It's better than mine, though. Number 5 for me, White Men Can't Jump. I think a lot of people probably would put that on their list of top 5. I certainly liked it enough to see it once. I've never seen it again, but I remember I really liked it. Woody's great. Who's the other guy in there with him? Wesley Snipes,
Yeah,
really good. It's quite a good street basketball movie. So I think it needed to be in the top 5, but that's all I'm putting it. 5.
All right, number 5. Let's go to the next.
Number 4.
What's next, Scraby? Number 4?
By the way, the dog, its name is Buddy. And the dog actually passed away here in San Diego.
Oh, my
A
goodness.
year
Why do you always
after the
have to put
movie.
a sad tag on everything?
Because it's San Diego.
You're killing
I
me
miss
with
you,
this stuff.
Buddy the dog. My number 4 is Celtic Pride.
It is.
Dan Aykroyd, and I can't remember the other
Daniel
guy's name.
Stern.
Yes, he
They
is.
kidnap
Yeah.
the best player on the Utah Jazz
Yes.
so that the Celtics can win the championship.
Yeah.
I have to be honest with you, as ridiculous as this premise is, I'm surprised nobody's ever tried this.
I know,
in the
right?
crazy lunatic world in which we live in.
I don't think people can get close enough these days.
You know what I'm saying, though?
I do.
Well, you just say you're a pizza delivery guy, just like the way they poisoned Jordan that year.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they
really
supposedly
true.
poisoned Jordan. All
So
right.
Celtic Pride. That
Celtic
was a great
Pride,
and
number
at the
4
end,
for you.
They kidnapped Dion for the Patriots. It's great.
Oh, they did? I didn't
Yeah.
see the end.
Yeah.
I didn't make it through the
They
entire movie.
They jokingly kidnap him. So.
All right. 2 minutes left. Yale's just taken a 1-point lead. 73-72. Very difficult doing this countdown while we're watching this game.
Steal
for Yale.
That's why I'm not looking at it, Chris.
Yeah, I know. Don't look. We can't like call the last 2 minutes of the game here.
No, we can't.
But we're going to try to tell you everything that happened so that you can keep up with this potential next Aztec opponent. Well, it's not the potential. It is the Aztecs' next opponent. Whoever wins this game, it'll be Yale or Auburn.
Don't worry, it'll be over in a half hour because it's
There's a minute left. Yeah, you're right. This Yale Kai is just, I mean, you talk about one-on-one.
That was a terrible shot.
But they got it back. We're doing play-by-play even though we're not supposed to.
I'll just name out. Do you want to do your thing?
Number 4
Okay.
for me is Hustle.
Oh.
It was a newer movie, and it's out on Netflix. And if you haven't seen it, Adam Sandler plays a scout
for the Sixers.
Who has basically been run through the ringer his entire life. He's never been given the right opportunity because of fraternization. Other people have passed him and got better jobs.
Yep.
And he goes down to wherever, Dominican Republic or somewhere, I forget exactly, but he finds this gem of a player, and he tries to tell everybody that this is the guy that's going to change everything, and everybody thinks he's a quack.
Yeah.
And he's not. The guy he has is that good. And there's some great scenes in the movie between the player in question, who is the athlete that Adam Sandler is trying to bring to the Sixers.
Oh, it's Spain.
Okay. But he's going up against Ant-Man.
Yes.
Anthony Edwards is the bad guy in the movie.
His name's Kermit in the movie.
Whatever, but yeah, it's Ant-Man.
I just love it.
And there's some great scenes, and Adam Sandler does a terrific job. I really liked it.
I do too.
Like, I should maybe even get it higher than 4, but I'll put it 4 for now.
I'm glad you put
Really
it on
good.
there because I didn't and I forgot about it, but that is an amazing movie.
It's really good. It's on
beginning is
Netflix. If you're
hilarious.
looking for a good one, I think it's Netflix. I mean, it could be
it's
something
Netflix.
else. But if you're looking for some good movie to watch this weekend, you can do a whole lot worse than watching Hustle.
Didn't they say
I'll be
his
honest with
nickname
you.
was like Cuban Missile, or he wanted his nickname to be Cuban Missile?
By the way, I don't like the name of the movie, Hustle. It doesn't tell me anything.
I guess it's because he hustles through the player, but the player is an actual NBA player. He's a great actor.
Oh, yeah, he's good. Yeah, he plays in the NBA right now with somebody as a backup.
Do you know how
guy
that
is.
all came about? Like, they were looking for someone. His agent said, "You want to try this?" He said, "Sure." And then he got cast in the movie.
He did a good job. The Yale game, we haven't forgotten about it. They're in a timeout. So go ahead, Scraby, with the countdown with number 3.
Number 3 is a Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Oh, goodness. Come on.
Eddie.
Really? Eddie?
The one where
Isn't
she
her
becomes
name
the Knicks
yes,
coach.
Yes,
I
stupidity.
love it. It's so good.
You love dumb movies.
Well,
I should
these
have
are the
known
movies
this.
like that came out when I was a kid. And they
I
were
should have
made
known
for
this.
me.
I should have known that these are be the movies you would pick.
Eddie is a great movie.
It's not.
It is.
Not even close.
Have you ever seen it?
I've tried to see it. Couldn't stay with it.
Yes.
I
she
think that
becomes
tells
the
you
head
all you
coach
need to know.
Of the New York Knicks
Yeah,
in
I know she does.
1996.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was my age right here. I was like 12.
I will tell you that the Ranker website doesn't even consider that a top 40 basketball movie.
Thanks, Chris.
Eddie.
It's my list. It's not the Ranker list.
Well, I'm just telling you. Number 3 for me is He Got Game. Here's the thing with He Got Game.
Oh, that's
Ray Allen is fantastic in it.
Yeah.
And it's a great story of, what you get when you're trying to make it to the big time, and you are big time. But the best thing is you got Denzel Washington in the movie. I mean, that legitimizes everything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Denzel's fantastic. And
Jesus Shuttlesworth, my friends. Yes, Ray Allen, the next superstar.
Yeah. At the time. At least, you see, to me, if you're going to do a basketball movie, you get somebody like Ray Allen to play basketball. It looks legit.
And he can act.
And then you get Denzel Washington, who can act.
Yeah.
And he can act.
And it's great all the way around.
So there you have it. That's my number 3.
We got some suggestions on the chat, like Mike.
Well, let's wait till the countdown's over.
Okay.
We might name one of
You're
these.
going to put like Mike on your list?
Pretty unlikely.
Okay, good.
Number 2.
Okay.
My number 2 is the original Space Jam.
Yeah.
Everybody get up. It's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. You're not going to join me?
I don't know the song.
It's a great movie. Michael Jordan was in it. It's Looney Tunes. The new one is not as good. But I got to say, I've watched the old one with my nieces recently, and the old one does not hold up at all.
Yeah, but Newman's in it from
Newman
Seinfeld.
is in it, and he's pretty funny in it.
He's usually funny.
He really wants to play, and he gets flattened, which is hilarious. They put a pump in his mouth to get him pumped up. But anyway, Space Jam.
Space Jam number 2. The Yale-Auburn game. Auburn ball, 46 seconds left. Yale by 1. 73-72. Auburn, I think, going to the free throw line here, though. Number 2 for me, I asked you if this was okay. You laughed. I'm going with it. Teen Wolf.
No, it's fine.
Teen Wolf. Michael J. Fox turns into a werewolf, and when he does, he's unstoppable as a high school basketball player. Like,
yes.
Unstoppable.
Yes.
I don't know why. The premise is ridiculous. I mean, absurd. But I enjoyed the movie. Like, I couldn't turn the channel. And Michael J. Fox back in the day was, one of the best guys you had going out there as an actor.
Oh, yeah.
And he makes it somehow believable / watchable. Teen Wolf. Again, you could do worse this weekend than by renting Teen Wolf.
Yeah, you're right. You could rent Teen Wolf or you can rent Eddie, and you won't go wrong. With Michael J. Fox, was he in Three's Company?
Michael J. Fox? No, that was...
what was the TV show he was in?
Oh, yeah, he was in Family Ties.
Family Ties. Okay,
Yeah.
So did you know that he was so in demand for Family Ties, or for acting jobs, that when he would work his Family Ties job, he would have to go right to Back to the Future set, and it was hours in between. So the movie studio hired a driver, and they put a bed in the back of a van, and he would just sleep in the bed on the way to each spot. Like, that seems hectic to me.
Michael J. Fox, he posted.
Is that our new thing today? Posted.
They're in an official review with 46 seconds left. We haven't forgotten the Yale-Auburn game for those that are driving along trying to get an update.
All right.
Nothing to update you on, so we can give you the number 1 basketball movie.
Hey, you got some people loving Teen Wolf.
All right, good. A little support.
My number
Appreciate
1, you already mentioned it. He Got Game.
He Got Game.
Love that movie.
Number 1.
I could watch that movie right now. I could watch it anytime it's on. It is such a good movie, and Denzel's great in it. So there you go.
All right, my number 1 is always been my number 1 basketball movie.
Hoosiers.
It is not Hoosiers. Hoosiers didn't even make my list. I think Hoosiers is a very obvious movie. I think it's just there's nothing that interests me about Hoosiers. The real story of Hoosiers I liked. The movie version of Hoosiers, not so much. My favorite basketball movie is called One on One. It's released in 1977 with Robbie Benson. He is a young recruit at Western University, which is basically then UCLA. And it's the trials and tribulations of a young man trying to become a star college basketball player in the late 70s. And it's terrific. It's great basketball, great story, heartfelt type thing, tearjerker, love story. It's got a little of everything. Now, I was talking about the people at Ranker. They only rank it the 24th best basketball movie. So I'm kind of alone on this one, but I recommend it. 1-on-1. The whole movie was filmed at Moby Arena at Colorado State, by the way.
All right.
Which is just another addendum to it.
All right, we ready for some of the chat?
No, I want to update the Yale-Auburn thing. Auburn missed a free throw. Yale got fouled. They hit 2 free throws. It is currently Yale 75, Auburn 72.
Is this happening again, Chris?
Are we going to get lucky
Is this
again?
happening again?
45 seconds left. Auburn ball. They trail by 3. I can't really do play-by-play.
No, but they still have
But
the
I'll
ball.
tell you what happens. Auburn missed, but a foul. So they'll get 2 free throws. Yale leads by 3. Go to the chat. What do
All
they
right,
got?
so one of them was Jorge says the air up there with Kevin Bacon. That is a great one. He goes to, I believe.
That's where he goes to Africa.
Yes, and
teaches them basketball.
Yes, I love that movie. Thank you for saying that, Jorge.
All right.
Addicted to Fishing says Blue Chips.
Blue Chips.
I was too young for it.
Blue Chips got my best of the rest. I
Honorable
wrote
mention?
it down, but it didn't quite make my cut. But Shaq is very good in Blue Chips. Nick Nolte is the coach, and very Bobby Knight-like in the day.
Yes. Lamar says above the rim with Tupac in it. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah,
but
I don't
have
recall
seen it.
that one too well.
Jorge says again, Joanna Man. No, Jorge. I cannot get behind Joanna Man. It has a worse score than Eddie on Rotten Tomatoes. So there you go. That's my thing.
You're ragging on your own movie there.
Flubber is
Flubber?
That's not a basketball
Was
movie.
that Jerry
everyone.
Lewis?
No, that's with Eddie Murphy.
Oh, that's not. Oh, Flubber was a.
Oh no, wait, that was Robin Williams.
Okay.
I
think we're kind of going a little crazy
here's
now at
another
this
one.
point.
Joe said Coach Carter.
All right, Coach Carter's okay.
Yeah. J Mac says like Mike.
All right, everybody, thank you for contributing. That is our list of the greatest basketball movies. We probably mentioned a great one or two somewhere in there.
The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, is that a basketball movie?
It is. Dr. J's in that
Oh,
way
that's
back
right.
when.
That's right. Okay.
Auburn just hit 2 free throws. Yale by 1. 33 seconds to play, and it's Yale ball. Are the Aztecs going to get to face Yale instead of Auburn? They might. Colorado, by the way, has seen its lead trimmed to 2 by Florida.
That's a good point.
99-97 with 14 seconds remaining.
That's a good point.
Colorado on the free throw line. We got 2 games coming down to the end. Colorado hits the free throw, but now Florida will have the ball down 3. They were just down by 14.
They were.
The last time I looked over there.
College basketball amazes me.
Some of these games have been off the charts. We're going to a break here, but let's see what happens with Florida trying to tie it. A deep 3. Good. Oh, my goodness. About a 40-footer. Ties the game at 100. 9 seconds left. Colorado ball. Timeout.
Wow.
I'll tell you what happens when we come back. That was a deep 3, baby.
Baby.
Baby. All right, Yale by 1. Colorado, Florida tied. The madness. And Chris versus the fans when Gwynn and Chris continues.
97.3 The Fan.
All right, the madness of March continues, and one of the highlights you'll see over and over tonight.
What? Sorry.
Easy does it, Scraby. One of the highlights you'll see over and over tonight was the game-winning shot for Colorado. Came with a second and a half remaining. Baseline jumper. It went in. It bounced out. It rolled around, and eventually it went in. And Colorado defeats Florida in easily the highest scoring game of the tournament, 102-100. That has just gone final. Meanwhile, Yale holding on to a 2-point lead, 9 seconds left against Auburn. Auburn, one free throw. Missed it. Rebound.
It's a
tie
massive
up.
Humanity.
Whose ball?
Who elbows hitting the floor everywhere.
Auburn's ball.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Auburn's going to get a chance to tie it, maybe win it with 6.8 seconds remaining.
Wow.
It looked like Yale had it. They were up by 4. Auburn went down driving layup. They called a foul. Missed the free throw, but a tie-up and Auburn's possession. So Auburn may escape this and get it to overtime, or they could win it on a 3. Chris vs. the Fans is coming up in just a second, but we're going to have to hold off on that just for a moment.
Just for a moment.
We kind of care about the result of this game because the winner
bit.
of it plays the Aztecs.
I don't want the Aztecs to face Auburn. That big guy scares me.
Yeah. Auburn's got the ball inbounding underneath its own or underneath the Yale basket. So if they score, they're right there. They get it in, layup, blocked, foul. Wow. That looked like a lot of ball?
That looked like more of a foul than the last call.
Well, that was a foul. So Auburn now will have a chance to tie it at the free throw line. Boy, the guy got pretty open under there.
Come on, Yale. Don't do this to me.
Yale's going to, God, they had this. They're going to be one of these games where Yale's going to be like, how did we let this get away? 2 free throws, 6 seconds left for Auburn to tie it. No good.
Wow.
Wow.
Real quick, while they're shooting the other one, Ale says, hey, guys, I'm watching you from Seoul. You were my morning show out here. So,
thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are watching March Madness. Has he got to miss the second free throw, I would think. Can't make
on
this
purpose,
one.
Right?
Yeah, on purpose. 6 seconds left.
He did.
He missed it.
Oh, my goodness.
Auburn rebound, block shot, loose ball, 2 seconds, 3-pointer. No.
Oh, man. They did not make it. Wow.
Auburn had about 6 chances after that missed free throw.
I just envisioned the shot going in right there.
I did too. But
That's
it didn't happen.
Amazing. No, that was a great block, too.
Beautiful block shot on the inside. Yale beats Auburn 78-76. The Aztecs' chances to go to the Sweet 16 just increased.
Wow.
It doesn't mean they've done it, but you can't tell me that you'd rather face Auburn when you could face Yale.
You want to face Yale. Yale?
Auburn looks
Obviously
like
a good team.
Such a terrific team the entire game. Yale has a lot of guts, though. And also keep this in mind. Last year, Princeton went all the way to the Sweet 16 out of the Ivy League.
That's true.
So
I always forget about that.
Yeah. And we've been talking about the Mountain West and how bad they've been in the tournament. The SEC has lost 4 teams in the first round, including Auburn and Kentucky.
So why aren't we talking about that?
Well, I just did.
Okay, good.
I just mentioned it.
Good point.
I just mentioned it.
Nice
so
point.
the SEC is having as bad a tournament as the Mountain West is. All right, it's set for Sunday now. Aztecs will take on Yale. As soon as we get a game time, we'll pass it along. Ted Lightner joins us, bottom of the hour, from Spokane, where the Aztecs did win. But before all that, we play trivia.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. What are we playing for, Chris?
Well, we are playing for a chance to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? If you win, you get into the drawing, and you could qualify to win a 2-night stay at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. Dinner for 2 as well. Immerse yourself in the timeless elegance. Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. Luxury resort, gaming, and meeting destination. The legacy of Fontainebleau, Las Vegas is built upon more than 70 years of sublime beauty, unparalleled service, and timeless design. Book now. Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. You know, Sean Paul, our guy from Field of 68.
Yes.
He told us, don't look past Yale.
He did.
Because I was asking him, how did the Aztecs have a chance to beat Auburn in the second round? And he said, don't just assume Auburn's going to win. And he was right. Yale won.
I'm going to try to get him on next week since we loved him so much.
Yeah, well, he's smart.
He is smart.
He's smart. All right, let's get to
the rules.
The rules of this game.
You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. And if you're a first-time player, let us know. That was a good one. Let us know before we get into the next question.
We sounded like we practiced that before.
Yeah. Let me know before the first question. You'll get the first question for free today and start on the second question. All right. If you want to call in right now, 833-288-0973. But we are going to start with Julian. Julian, you are the first player today. How are you?
Pretty good.
First
time player here.
Oh, first time player.
All right,
Julian.
Here we go.
Go get him.
Number 2.
You're 2 questions away from the coveted championship.
What Padres... excuse me. That wasn't that hard. Should have been. What Padres pitcher holds the record for strikeouts in a game?
In a game?
In one game, yes.
For the Padres.
Jake Peavy.
Jake Peavy is correct.
Wow. Julian just got that without even thinking.
Julian, do you know how many he had?
I want to say like 16 or 17.
Julian is a player. It was 16.
16 is the record.
Wow, nice job.
Now, I will say, and this is not Julian's correct, but I think, and I have to look this up, and I think Kevin Brown struck out either more than that or the same in a playoff victory over the Astros.
I should have said regular
1 year.
season.
I think.
Okay.
But Julian, you're correct, and you move on to the final question here. So good luck.
Yes, I do need to make the
You should just say, yeah, I think Kevin Brown either tied that 16 or broke it. I'll look it up in the next. I don't have time right now. I'm focused here on the game.
You can't get on the computer anyway, so
focused.
All right, Julian, you get this right or Chris gets it wrong, and you are qualified for a trip to Las Vegas. I think this one might be one of the harder questions we've ever had, but I think you can get it through my hints. What major sports apparel brand debuted their bat with one major leaguer using it last year? What major sports apparel brand debuted their bat with one major leaguer using it last season?
I'm going to go with New Balance.
New Balance. Oh, that's a good one. Shohei Ohtani loves him some New Balances. Stay there.
How am I supposed to know this?
Because you know weird stuff like
Nike.
This. Nike?
Yeah. Julian!
Wow,
you're a winner.
Julian.
Your first time out.
That is
very
incredible.
Good.
Stay right there.
Good for you.
I had no idea they were in the bat making business. Under Armour.
Yeah, well, I had no idea they were in the bat making business either. And how were your clues supposed to help us get that?
Major sports apparel brand.
Oh, I see. So that narrowed it down to like 13.
So to Nike, Adidas, Under Armour.
Yeah, basically. All right.
So you think the question was too hard?
No, it's a good question. I didn't know it. And neither did Julian, but it doesn't matter if he knows it, if I don't know it.
Yeah, that's true.
So Julian has moved on, advanced for an opportunity to
go to Las Vegas.
Good on you, Julian. I'm glad. Right. I like when a first-time player wins because I think a lot of people, honestly, I feel like they think, and I could be wrong here, but I think people just in general feel like I kind of need to have experience to win this game.
That's not.
Do you know what I'm saying,
true.
though?
Yeah.
I know it's not true, but I want to be clear that it's not true. People come on their first time and win all the time. It happens quite often, even, and Julian is proof of that. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm happy that he was able to win that. I'm trying to look up the playoff game, but I'm not finding it. The Astros and Padres. It was the.
Let me see.
It was the very first game of the 1998 playoffs in Houston. Jim Leyritz hit a home run. The Padres won 2-1. Tony Gwynn had a big hit against Randy Johnson in a lefty-lefty matchup. That was like incredible.
I have
typical Tony Gwynn pulling off a magical base hit. All right, I'm fine. I've kind of arrived there now. I'm at the NL Division Series. Yeah, the first game was 2-1 Padres. Kevin Brown got the win over Randy Johnson. Padres scored a run in the 6th inning, set up by Tony Gwynn. Leyritz homered in the 8th. The Astros scored in the 9th off Trevor Hoffman, but that was after Kevin Brown, struck out 16 in 8 innings. So, he shares the record in a way with Jake Peavy.
I will make distinctions.
Make a distinction next time.
Actually, Kevin Brown owns the top 2 spots. I just found them all in the postseason for the Padres. 16, like you just said, and then he has another one in the NLCS against the Braves where he struck out 11. Sterling Hitchcock also struck out 11 in that same year against the Astros in the NLDS.
Yeah,
man, the Astros struck out a ton against the Padres.
Kevin Brown was dealing by the end of the 1998 season. And I mean dealing.
Yeah, I was only 13.
And I know you were. I don't know that Kevin Brown's 1998 season for the Padres wasn't the best a Padre pitcher's ever had. And I know Jake Peavy won Cy Young Award, right?
Yeah.
So Jake has got a claim to that. But Kevin Brown was 18 in that year with a 2.38 ERA. He pitched 7 complete games. That's more than most teams pitch nowadays.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
He also pitched 257 innings and struck out 257. And he had a whip of 1.06. And in the playoffs, he was just about unhittable until, of course, we got to the World Series against the Yankees when, for some reason, everybody became somewhat hittable.
Who won the Cy Young over him that year?
In 1998, he finished 3rd that year. Kevin Brown did. I got to go down. Hang on. Hold on. NL Cy Young Award winner that year was, Trevor Hoffman finished ahead of him 2nd.
That's crazy.
And then Tom Glavine won. And I don't know if I'm, right or wrong here, but maybe Trevor Hoffman and Kevin Brown kind of split up the Padre vote.
Possibly.
Leaving it open for Glavine to win. I don't recall.
I mean, Trevor Hoffman's ERA plus that year was 265, which is off the charts.
Well, Trevor had 53 saves that year.
Yeah, off the charts.
1998 was a good year.
Yes,
a very good year for the Padres. But Kevin Brown was one of the reasons that it was. All right, good on you, Julian. You win Chris First of the Fans today. We will take a deep breath and a break. The Aztecs are on through to the 2nd round of the NCAA tournament where they will face Yale on Sunday. As soon as we get a game time, we'll pass it along to you. Ted Lightner joins us soon, as does Mark Zegler. All kinds of Aztecs coverage ahead after traffic.
From the 90s.
It's Gravy here for SD Fat Loss, and yes, you already know it. I have lost 40 pounds thanks to the program, and I am still going strong. I'm still feeling great, and I can keep up with the dogs on the walk because of it. I tried all those fad diets leading up to SD Fat Loss, and none of those diets worked for me. And if they did work for me, as soon as I was done with the diet, all that weight would come right back. So I was discouraged, and I didn't really know how I was going to lose weight. I didn't even think diets work for me anymore. But SD Fat Loss came around, and they helped me crack my weight loss code by getting me on the program, getting me educated on what I need to do, how much I need to eat, when to eat, all of the things that I was kind of winging on my own. But because they have experts, they're able to give you the information that you need to be healthy. And remember when I said that I just gained all that weight right back after those fad diets? Well, SD Fat Loss is committed to helping you maintain your weight, and they will help you after the diet is done. They're going to give you a program that'll help you be successful in keeping that weight off and living your new lifestyle. So if you have any questions, please give them a call and schedule a free consultation, 858-665-3211, or go to sdfatloss.com.
It'll be the Aztecs getting Yale in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. 4:20 is the time. Chris, hello, Matt Scraby. Together in our Odyssey Palace studio, second year in a row, the Aztecs survived their first-round game as a 5 seed. They beat UAB today 69-65 in a game that caused me a heart attack or two along the way.
Yeah.
Aztecs had a 12-point lead. Let that get away. UAB went up by 3, couple of different times late in the game. Jaden Ledee, time and again, brought the Aztecs back. Aztecs hit 9 straight free throws down the stretch, and that is stressful enough.
Yes.
But they hit them. And Lamont Butler, the way he changed the game on defense, also scored 15. Ledee had an All-American effort with 32. And the Aztecs are through. And also now for the second straight year, instead of having to draw the 4 seed in the second round, which would have been Auburn, the Aztecs will draw the 13 seed, which is Yale, because Yale beat Auburn just a few moments ago, 78-76.
I can see the San Diego State haters out there because they are successful now. So they do have haters out there.
Okay.
And I can see them being like, well, the reason San Diego State's getting to the Sweet 16 is because they're playing bad teams in the second round.
There's no bad teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to say, there's no bad teams. Number one. Number two, you can say whatever you want about their run last year. On their way to the final, they beat the number 1 team in the tournament. So that should answer any question
that should.
Or argument that a
but then
hater
they played
has.
Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, they did.
But
And
they
Florida
also
Atlantic beat everybody
Alabama
to get there. Florida Atlantic beat everyone to get there, and Florida Atlantic's supposed to be unbelievable this year.
Yeah.
They bowed out in the first round today. Northwestern took them down in overtime.
Yeah, that was a bummer for me.
Yeah. UConn won. Well, that's not surprising anybody. And I'm not even thinking of looking ahead. But if the Aztecs beat Yale on Sunday.
Yeah, who did they play?
UConn would
be
next.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
UConn would be next unless something wild and crazy happens before then. There are a couple of games in progress right now. All of them in the first half. Texas A&M leads Nebraska 25-24. The other couple of games just got started, so we'll keep you up to date on those, including Purdue taking the court shortly. Who are they playing? Grambling State.
My Tigers.
Can Purdue shake off their demons?
I don't know.
And beat Grambling State?
You know why I am cheering against Purdue? Because my dad picked them to win it all.
Okay.
And I was like, Dad, that was a mistake.
You think?
Purdue's going to lose in the second round.
Let's see.
We'll see.
The biggest story in sports, and Ted Lightner is going to join us from Spokane here in about 10 minutes. So we'll get his thoughts on the Aztecs win today. Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani, Shohei's interpreter, $4.5 million, gamblers. It's got all the makings of a reality show, doesn't it?
30 for 30, yeah, something.
Major League Baseball has now opened a formal investigation into the matter surrounding Shohei Ohtani. Now, did they do this just to try to shut up all the people who say, oh, baseball will never do anything to Ohtani? Or are they doing this with the idea of trying to find out some stuff?
Come on, Chris.
What do you think?
They're doing it to shut us all up, but it's not going to work.
All right.
It's not
it's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. I want to make this clear because I had someone talking to me on DM last night saying that I make it seem like I think he's guilty of betting. I'm going to make it clear. I don't think he's guilty of betting. What I do find interesting is the wire transfers in his name to a bookmaker in Southern California. And that's a big deal because you're part of I can't remember the term for it, but you're furthering an illegal operation by
But you're
money.
not if somebody steals your money and sends it to a gambler in
you
Southern
have
California.
no idea, truthfully have no idea, then that's okay. But
then you
it's
should
hard to
then
wire transfer
then
without his approval.
All right. Here's the problem that Major League Baseball is going to have in terms of this investigation. Ohtani has a right to refuse cooperation because he's a member of the MLB Players Association. He also could invoke his right under the interpretation of arbitration precedents to refuse cooperation because there's a criminal investigation that's already underway. So Ohtani doesn't even have to talk to Major League Baseball. And I'm not his lawyer, but I would recommend that he doesn't. Probably. The more that he doesn't say, the better off it is for him.
There's already been so many changes in the news and how it's
the story has changed 16 different times already. If I am Ohtani, I'm not going to talk to Major League Baseball right now. Now, baseball wants to try to suspend Ohtani. See, you're thinking that baseball doesn't want to do anything to Ohtani. I'm thinking.
Yes, I am.
I know you are, but I'm thinking baseball just can't do anything to Ohtani. The Players Association is like the most powerful union on the planet.
Very powerful. You're right.
There is no way baseball can just say, well, while this is all going on, we think it's better that you sit out. They won't be able to do that, even if they wanted to do that. So I think you're being a little bit unfair to Major League Baseball here.
Really?
Yes, I think baseball would like to find out what happened here, but I don't think they're going to be able to. And so we're all going to be kind of left to guess whether Ohtani took $4.5 million of his own money, sent it to gamblers to try to protect and help out his interpreter. Ippei
Mizuhara.
Yeah, whatever. Nobody cares about him. They care
kinda
about it.
true.
Well,
It's
really
true.
There's a story involving Shohei. It's like saying there's Taylor Swift and one of her friends was arrested for shoplifting. I don't think anybody's going to care about the name of her friend.
The question will be: is Taylor holding the wrong people in her friendship group?
No. But anyway, did Ohtani send the money? Did the interpreter steal the money and then send it? What went down? It'll be up to
what the interpreter said first is that Ohtani sent it to clear his debts, and then Ohtani's lawyers said he's lying, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Shohei didn't know anything about it." Like, come on, guys.
I know. Your problem as a conscribuser, your problem is that you do not go along with the laws of the land.
Meaning?
The laws of the land are you're innocent till proven guilty. In your mind, you're guilty until proven innocent. And that's where you go wrong. I don't mind that you think these things, but it's not fair to just assume them.
I never said he was
guilty.
Because
the land of the law of the land, is that you are innocent first. You tend to make people guilty first.
Trendwave on YouTube says something interesting. The FBI is already involved. This is how it was all found out, is that the FBI was doing an investigation on the bookie, and the bookie, his legal team ended up finding these wire transfers. Now, I did read something about the bookie, also interesting. He did see Shohei Ohtani's name on the transfers, but he said, I don't really care. I don't care how I get my money. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus to expose Shohei Ohtani. And then he also would tell other people that he does take bets from Shohei Ohtani. So that's another crazy thing.
Well, there's other reports that say Shohei Ohtani absolutely, flatly, categorically denies that he ever bets at all.
I will say once again, I do not think he is betting on baseball.
Well,
I do not think he is betting on baseball.
You think everything else, though. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just telling you to pump the brakes because it's way too early to really start making those assumptions.
Can I make a statement about Kate Middleton real quick?
It's
a serious thing.
We're coming up on the bottom of the hour, but I have to tell you that if you listen to the Scraby Chronicles, Scraby spends half of his time talking about the royal family and Kate Middleton. And it's your show, so you're more than welcome to do that.
I don't know if I spent half the time. But...
Not quite half. But I'm going to allow you to give an update because I do think that even sports fans are curious enough about the whereabouts of Kate Middleton. And if you hadn't heard, they have finally found her.
Well,
but there's some bad news that goes along with this. So I'll let you update the Kate Middleton story.
Yeah, it's very sad. Very, very, very sad. But she did put out a video today, and it was her saying that she had surgery on something in January on her stomach, and then they thought it was non-cancerous. And then as she was recovering, they found out that it was cancerous. And so she's going through chemotherapy, and that is why she hasn't been in the public at all. And so
you have to
super sad.
So you have to really, send your thoughts now to Kate Middleton, all of you people, all of you conscribusers out there who thought something amiss was at work.
The only reason
with the royal family, it turns out now that this young lady who's revered as much as any woman on the planet has been suffering and struggling with cancer.
I'm going to
and
back
now
off.
All of you people like you, Scraby, who said they need to be forthcoming with us and honest with us, and they owe us. Now we understand a little bit better.
If they were putting
as
out
to what was
Photoshop
going on.
pictures and making up lies, no one would have said, oh, well, she has to be dead. And I did say I don't think that she's dead, but this is very sad and it's very serious. And so I will be leaving it alone from now on.
Nebraska, Texas A&M game underway. 7 minutes left first half. A&M leads Nebraska 35-31. Also 11 minutes left first half. Duke over Vermont 21-16. Grambling and Purdue get underway shortly. If you're just tuning in and you have your bracket handy, the Aztecs will be facing Yale in the second round of the NCAA tournament on Sunday. Aztecs beat UAB 69-65. Yale surprised Auburn 78-76. Ted Lightner from Spokane, where he called the Aztecs victory earlier today. Get his thoughts when Gwynn and Chris resumes. Got Charles Barkley on television right now. You know I love Charles Barkley, Scrabe.
I know.
One of my all-time favorites, but I can't hear him right now. But I'm sure that Kenny Smith and everybody else giving him a rough time about Auburn losing. Sorry about that, Charles. You will not get a chance at the Aztecs on Sunday. Instead, it'll be Yale against the Aztecs on Sunday. Yale knocked off Auburn 78-76 after the Aztecs took out, and barely, but took out nonetheless, UAB 69-65. Couple games in progress right now. 9 seed Texas A&M leads Nebraska 40-33 first half. Do you know how many games Nebraska's won in the NCAA tournament, Scrape?
I can't even remember.
Great powerhouse school like Nebraska.
They were in it.
They've never won an NCAA tournament game.
They've been in it, but they haven't won.
Only 7 times, but every time they've been in it, they've lost. Duke leads Vermont 22-16 midway through the first half. Those are the only 2 games going right now. Coming up in just a moment from Spokane, Washington, where the Aztecs survived, Ted Lightner lives another day, and he will join us after we check traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
75 east at the toll plaza, a rollover collision causing big delays, and 5 south at Rosecrans, a disabled vehicle blocking the off-ramp. I'm Vicki Pepper with Gwen and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, getting Ted on the line here, and he should join us shortly after that heart-stopping Aztec win over UAB today in Spokane. We're still looking for a possible time for the Aztec game on Sunday. Maybe Ted knows, but I don't think it's out yet. Ted Lightner joins us, though, from Spokane, Washington. Beautiful this time of year up there, isn't it, Teddy? Might as well spend another couple of days.
Yeah, I figured it was okay. Got a little cool last night, but I'm fine, and I can handle another basketball broadcast, and Aztec fans can handle another basketball game. And I know they got spoiled last year. Who wouldn't be? But it wasn't easy. As Dutcher says, NCAA games are never easy, but you just have to win the game, find a way to win the game, and they did that.
For sure. Where on the scale of nervousness did this one rank? When they got down a little bit in the second half, I mean, I got to admit, I was starting to feel a little defeated there for a minute.
Understandable. I mean, having watched the tapes last night and other days since the matchup was made, I thought that this was a very talented team, despite, a conference that's nowhere near what the Mountain West is, and that's the American Athletic. And they had been in Conference USA the years before that, and they were a program winning, 29 games last year and the NIT championship, and winning the conference championship of their new conference this year. So they were not going to be an NCAA team unless they got an automatic bid by being a conference winner, and they were. And I was very impressed with their size, their athletic ability, and their rebounding. And I think that's where the Aztecs were. They matched them. I think they had a couple of more rebounds, but they each had 14 offensive rebounds. So the Aztecs answered the fact that they could rebound with a team that was their strength, and they did that. Defense was not the Blazers' strength. Rebounding was. The Aztecs answered that, and they wind up with, 17 points on turnovers and get 11 steals. The Aztecs turned it over a couple of more than they normally do, and it wasn't the total number of the turnovers, just that when they got them, they were in the midst of a run where they might have thought, blew them out in the first half the way they were going, but they were not able to do that. So I really, it was very, very nervous that they were that close. And once again, the Aztecs don't play well with big leads all year long, even in games that they won. They did that. If you remember, Chris, they had the double-digit lead against Washington in the tournament in Las Vegas in November. Then they had a double-digit lead against Cal in Orange County on the neutral floor again, and they've done that so many times. And they blew an 11-point lead in the first half. Actually, they got to a dozen, I think. And for some reason, and poor shooting is part of that, but they were turning it over, and not so much in the total numbers, but in bunches. And I think that made it a close game and it kept them from getting rid of that team early on. But that was extremely, to answer your question, that's a 9 on the nervous 10 scale. But they found a way, and they found a way by making their free throws. That's exactly what they did.
And we followed Aztec basketball for 40 years. We always make our free throws, right, Ted?
No, that's actually not true. The quite opposite. The opposite has been. I remember that game against Boise State, and even Trey Kell, a good free throw shooter, and all those guys. They missed like 6 in a row, and they had a 10-point lead there, and they couldn't score and couldn't make their free throws, and they lost that game at home. They have had moments where they're not able to make shots this year, and other years, like you say, not able to make free throws. And they were 8 of 10 in the first half. They were 8 of 10 in the second half. And Lamont Butler, who's had, I don't know where his shooting went, both for 2s and 3s and free throws, but here's a guard shooting 57%, and he was a little lower than that going into the Mountain West tournament. And Lamont goes 5 out of 6. Ledee goes 9 out of 10. And that was the ball game. If they don't do that, they lose easily by probably more points than they won by. Now, that's clutch on national television, NCAA. You make free throws like that. That is a big-time clutch performance to win the game.
Agreed, 100%. Ted Lightner's with us, where he called the Aztecs 69-65 win over UAB today. I've actually gone further into the interview without asking your thoughts on Jaden Ledee than I planned. I tweeted out right after the game that, third-team All-American, please. I know we always feel a little slighted. It's our guy. We watched him all year. But, Ted, that was a first-team All-American performance he put on today. I mean, it wasn't just the points. It was his impact on the game. He ended up fouling out the entire Birmingham team, and he made, ridiculously tough shots there down the stretch to keep him close. And then, as you said, he had his free throws. He did everything an All-American's supposed to do.
He did. And again, I don't think, because I've done it, and you're doing it, and Aztec fans do it, and it's not whining, because I think when something is accurate, then it's not complaining or whining, it's just stating a fact. And if Jaden Ledee played for UConn, if he played for Houston, if he even played for a Kentucky team that's gone, bye-bye, but was in the top 20, then he would be first-team All-American, because there is not a better power forward in the country. Everybody knows that. Coach Dutcher knows that. And that's just the way it is. But you're on San Diego State. Even the run last year that put them they've already been on the map a long, long time as the powerhouse on the West Coast, along with Gonzaga. And you can look at that, the winning percentage the last 10 years beyond UCLA. It's Gonzaga and San Diego State. Those are the 2 best programs. And the truth of the matter is, if he played for Gonzaga through all these, the way they had been in these finals and championships and Final Fours and all that, he would have been a first team. So the idea that he was second team, other team like Associated Press, and the Associated Press is normally the one they give the most credence to. He was only third team there. But as far as I'm concerned, you're an All-American, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. And the truth is, if you're on one of those name programs, those blue bloods, you're clearly going to be, just like we're on a winning team, you're going to be first team. He is amazing. CBS referred to him the other day as the boulder-shouldered Jaden Ledee of San Diego State.
I like that. Pretty good.
I'd never heard that one before.
No, but I like
it. There is no player quite like him in terms of what he does. And like he says, I don't make him shoot over me. I make him go through me. And you can't go through him. Early on, I thought I almost felt sorry for the 2 6'9" bigs, and with Lindeborg and Davis, because it was such a mismatch against him. He could basically do anything that he wanted. Now, when you do something like that, you are indeed a special player. And to come up like he did in the Mountain West, he averaged 27 points and 10 rebounds in those 3 games of the Mountain West, and he comes 32-8 today. Clearly, he is the main reason, after all the statistical things we mentioned, that the Aztecs won. This is not just an Aztec for life. This is an amazing, amazing Aztec. Like Malachi Flynn became one of those in 1 year, and Jaden's done it in just 2 years.
Yeah, and he's so soft-spoken. I mean, the interviewer after the game kind of tentatively went up to him because I don't think she was, she's a big guy. He's kind of intimidating. But then he opens his mouth and he says, well, I just relied on my teammates. It was nice. And, they did the thing. And the interviewer was like, the interviewer was like, well, no, you were kind of good in the game, And he goes, well, I appreciate that. But, my guys got it done for him. But he's really terrific in that way. Lamont Butler, I'm so happy for him because he has struggled a little this year. He took over the game in the first half on defense. I don't think UAB was ready for what he can do.
It wasn't just him. It was the overall defense, and Lamont was unbelievable. And it was a steal after steal after steal. And that's where I thought the Aztecs were going to a 20-point lead and end that thing in the first half when they had that run and they were coming down and stealing them after possession after possession. And then they had the two where Miles Bird was in transition after steals, and he missed one layup. And then the second one, he lost it. And I thought those 4 points there, and I thought the Aztecs were going to win this thing and blow them out right there. So, making 13 turnovers, they average 11.5 a game, San Diego State. That's not a huge number. But when they got them, it was after they had gotten in transition. And when they're in transition off a defensive rebound or a steal, this Aztec team is in transition even better than last year's team. So they kind of made it easier and helped Alabama get back in the ball game by throwing the ball away at some bad times. But oh my gosh, the defense, they have not. When you play in the American Athletic Conference like Alabama Birmingham, you come out here and you can watch it on tape. But when you're trying to bring the ball up and you're trying to set up your offense, then you're seeing a defense you have literally never seen all year. And that's San Diego State defense. And it came through today. And probably as big a reason as Ledee and everybody else was the Aztecs are known for that. Steve Fisher always said, he'd get stopped on the street and people would say, Steve Fisher, San Diego State, Kawhi Leonard and defense. That's what they always tell Steve, that the Aztecs were always known for nationwide. And after last year, they certainly increased that. And that's what they did today. Those four guys coming down from Alabama Birmingham, it was like, oops. I can't get by these guys at the top of the key. They're stealing every ball. It was an amazing exhibition.
Yeah, it was fun. Ted, we appreciate the time. It's always great talking to you now. Dutch, and we know, this team, I think they catch a break. I mean, you got to call it what it is. They're not going to have to play Auburn, right? They're going to have to play Yale, and Yale's good, but Yale's not Auburn. Yale's not Auburn.
No.
But there's no way Dutch is going to let them ease into this second game. What do you think he's going to focus on between now and Sunday with this team?
He's obviously going to go. It's like I mentioned during the broadcast. It's national television. It's the NCAA, and you get a tendency to try to do too much when you're making a play, and that's what happened to Miles Bird, who's going to be a sensational player. Mark my words. His defense has come on. He can rebound. He's fast. He's quick. He can shoot. He's going to be a true Aztec star the next couple of years, and he's just a sophomore. But they were rushing. John Wooden always said, "Be quick, but don't rush." And I think they were rushing, so they're going to work on that. They have a practice scheduled at the arena tomorrow. They practiced yesterday at a community college because the arena was having its other festivities for the tournament. But they're going to practice, and certainly, without question, they're going to continue to work against zones because they saw several different zones today, and that bothered them. That was part of the reason they didn't keep that 11-point lead in the first half and so forth. And when they increased the lead in the second half to 12, they were facing zones, and that's, everybody should zone the Aztecs because they're not a great shooting team. You should zone them until they make shots to get you out of the zone. But the Mountain West basically is a man-to-man kind of a conference, a half-court conference that plays defense and pounds you. And as a result, they don't see it very often. So it was very effective. And I expect that Yale, they ain't dumb. They're Yale. They'll start to use some of that during the course of the game on Sunday. So the Aztecs, to answer your question, will work on that tomorrow. They take their shots all the time. They work and work and work, and somehow they just go ice cold. I mean, they were 1 for 12 in the end of the first half and still won a ball game. And we just talked about why. Rebounding and Aztec defense.
You go to the Spokane Shakey's Pizza place tonight. What's on the agenda for you?
I tell you.
Do you know Spokane? You've been there a few times, right?
I have been there, and I came this year. And I came this year when they beat Gonzaga, And there's not a lot downtown. There's not a lot to do. There's a couple of restaurants. We went out to one last night, the broadcasters types, and it was good. It was good. The team went out to a steakhouse last night, and they're going to another steakhouse tonight. Got to get that protein ready to go.
Of course,
So
yes. Good excuse.
Yeah.
Good excuse for a steak. Got to have my
That's
protein.
And that's it. They're going to take them out. The team's going out for steak tonight, and then, like I mentioned, they have the practice tomorrow. But of course, what you mentioned is totally true. Auburn is a terrific team that plays really good defense, and so does Yale. But in terms of the athlete and the team, there's a reason they were seeded the way they were seeded. Auburn was number 4, and they're gone. So just like last year, Chris, when they didn't have to face a good, unlike this year, a good Virginia team, when they had Furman instead, when Virginia got upset, and that started the ball rolling, and now they get a break. No Auburn, Yale, and that is certainly better. And San Diego State is better than the Ivy League champions.
Hopefully they will prove that on Sunday, Ted. I say it all the time. The Aztecs basketball right now is the gift that keeps on giving. And we just keep enjoying the ride. Thanks so much for checking in with us. It's really nice of you to do. And hopefully we'll get a chance to speak again next week ahead of the Sweet 16.
Anytime, Chris. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it much as well. Ted Lightner, voice of the Aztec basketball. Great to catch up with him. Very nice of him, because I know he's got a lot on his plate.
Yes, he
for
does.
a Friday night in Spokane.
Yes, he does.
He sounded like it. He's like, well, they have 2 restaurants. I don't know. Well, maybe he'll go to the other one tonight. I guess that's what you do. They don't play till Sunday, so I mean, he's got some time to kill.
That is
over the next few days.
How far away is Spokane from Seattle? Would you go driving there?
I think no. Spokane is on the other side of the state.
I know it's near Idaho.
Yeah, well, Seattle's on the West Coast, so it's not very close.
Oh man,
yeah, not much.
Oh yeah, it's 4 hours.
Yeah, it's a ways away. All right, good to have Ted on. Mark Zegler's going to catch us up with a little his commentary after that game. We'll get him in the 5 o'clock hour. Look forward to that. 2 games in progress right now. Right before halftime, Texas A&M has already scored 58 points in the first half. That's impressive.
Gives them to Colorado State.
Yeah, Colorado State scored 44
in the
whole game. Yeah, Texas A&M leads Nebraska 58-43 right before halftime. 15-point lead for the Aggies. Duke over Vermont 28-23. Those are the only 2 games going right now. Back with a happy hour next.
Wait, no, we need to kill 10 more seconds.
Because I went too early?
The music that I played during Ted's interview was the outro music. I did not mean to do
Why
that.
did you play that?
I didn't play it.
You did.
No, I started the timer too early.
Operator error.
It was.
Operator error.
It was. You know what?
There's the music.
I'm going to admit when I'm wrong from now on, Chris.
Yeah, turn over a new leaf. What the hell?
Why not?
All right. Texas A&M at halftime leads Nebraska. The score is 58-44. Happy hour. We're happy. The Aztecs won, and more to come on Gwynn and Chris. Kicking off the happy hour on a day when we're happy. It's Gwynn and Chris with you. 5:01 is the time, unless you're a big-time Alabama Birmingham fan out there. Probably happy. Aztecs prevailed over UAB 69-65 earlier today. Game that went right down to the final shot. Aztecs led by 3 with only seconds remaining. And it was Butta Johnson. Yeah, that's right, Butta. Buttaah. Butta, who had made 5 threes in the game for UAB. And he got off a tying 3, but Reese Waters defended it well. He missed. Waters ended up with a rebound, got fouled, made 1 free throw down at the other end. And the Aztecs had their victory after letting a 12-point lead slip in the second half and falling behind by as many as 3 in the late going. Jaden Ledee was All-American, 32 points, 8 rebounds. Lamont Butler was really extraordinary on defense, and he added 15. As a matter of fact, those 2 guys shot the ball well today, Scrabe. They were a combined 16 of 27. The rest of the Aztecs, not so much. 8 of 28, which is 28% for the rest of the group. But they put it together enough to get the win over a pretty good UAB team. And next up for the Aztecs is Yale. The Bulldogs upended Auburn 78-76. Mark Zegler covered the game for the San Diego Union Tribune. Always love talking hoops with him. He joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. Mark, is it setting up again? I mean, I'm starting to get deja vu a little bit now. We win a very difficult first game and then watch as the 4 seed is knocked out of the tournament again.
I have the exact same sentiment. It was funny because after they won that game, I even asked Brian Dutcher. He didn't 100% agree with me, but I said it had kind of the same feel as the Charleston game last year. Real close game, some tight moments down the stretch. You make a couple plays, you win the game. A huge weight is lifted from your shoulders, and then here we are 2-3 hours later, and the 4 seed's knocked out of the bracket, and that's they're going to play the 13. Now Yale's very, very good, but in terms of comparing to last year, it's pretty darn close.
Mark, go over some X's and O's for us. Watch this game today, but maybe didn't know what we were looking at all the time. Did the Aztecs do a good job of dealing with their switching defenses? If I was UAB, I would have played the 1-3-1 a lot more than they did. They forced some turnovers, but I thought the Aztecs, by and large, got good looks. They just missed a lot of shots, which is kind of what we've come to expect.
Yeah, I mean, early in the game, they came out in the 1-3-1, and the way they play the 1-3-1 is they have their biggest guy, longest guy at the top, and then their center is right in the middle of it, and they have a guard sort of patrolling the baseline there. It's a quicker guy. So what San Diego State was able to do with some effectiveness, particularly you saw it in the first possession, was get the ball to Ledee down on the baseline against a small player and just have him go to work. So they kind of went away from that and went to a 1-2-2, 3/4 court kind of light press that dropped back into a 2-3 zone. And that one, the Aztecs struggled against. They missed shots. They couldn't really get it where they needed to. They took a lot of contested shots late in the shot clock. But the interesting thing was on that last possession, when Jaden Ledee was fouled and made the free throws, they went to a man. And I'm writing a lot about what happened and the tactics behind that. But that was kind of an interesting game within the game there.
We're talking to Mark Zegler here, San Diego Union Tribune. He's up in Spokane. We just talked to Ted Lightner, and he's all happy too. But Lindeberg is the guy that everybody was telling us on UAB was going to match up with Jaden Ledee. He got into foul trouble very early. Do you think that was something that the Aztecs tried to bait him into, or was it just poor decisions by him?
A little bit of both, I think. I mean, he admitted afterwards that the foul trouble really got inside his head. He just felt like he didn't know, he said, Ledee's coming down and it's just every single moment is physical. And he felt like he was just trying to be physical back and got called for fouls. And then he felt like, well, I can't be physical at all. And so he just didn't know what to do and he admitted it. I mean, you saw even sort of his reduced mental capacity because of that, he was still a very good player. He still, you think, wow, they really shut him down. He's still finishing 11-7, which is a bad game for him, but just tells you how talented he is. But you really kind of cut off the head of the snake there and forced other guys to step up, and they almost did. I mean, they had a couple, real good games from players who made tough contested shots, but it wasn't enough for them in the end.
Mark, you just mentioned something that I really noticed watching this game, and I've pretty much noticed it all season, but UAB had guys that could hit tough contested shots. Other than Jaden Ledee, that is really something that this Aztec team is going to just have to make do without. I mean, if they get open looks, they can make them. I don't know that the Aztecs have a guy that can be counted on to drill a bunch of jumpers with a hand in his face.
Well, that guy, I think, is Reese Waters, and he did that early in the season. He did it right off the bat to start the game, and then he kind of went cold again.
Yeah.
And I think people are hoping that he somehow, light bulb goes off because he's so talented. He has such a quick release. He's got good size, 6'5", 6'6". He can shoot over people. But they had guys that made shots. I wouldn't want to live on that because there are going to be nights when those things don't go in, you lose by 30. And so the Aztecs have a much more measured approach and are going to win more often with the way they do it than just taking wild shots and hope they go in.
Talking to Mark Zegler, San Diego Union Tribune, about the Aztecs' big win today over UAB. And you were talking about Brian Dutcher not agreeing with you about the game being like Charleston last year. But do you think that he's changed how he coaches in the tournament because of his success last year and just kind of knowing what to expect as he goes along?
I don't know if he has. I just think the whole program just exhaled. And the cliche is monkey off your back or albatross, whatever you want to say. I really sensed it last year in Charleston, and maybe it wasn't as dramatic today. I think that's what he was saying. But I just think everyone is much more relaxed, much calmer. They didn't panic at all down the stretch. They've been there. I mean, this is their 7th NCAA tournament game in the last 2 years. So, I mean, they've, most schools play in 1 or maybe 2. They've been in a lot of these games and they kind of know what to do. And they really made a great tactical decision when the game was on the line and UAB went to a man. A little bit of surprise there, but they felt like because of the personnel they had on the floor, that's what they needed to do. And the Aztecs, the coaching staff just very calmly called out, flashed a sign, called out a high-low play, and they executed it and won the game. And that just comes from experience in the tournament.
Lamont Butler, he's going to always be heroic, Mark, but he was heroic today defensively. I know he finished with 15 points, and Ledee obviously dominated the game, but Butler had his own stamp on this game. And, I'm hoping that Yale isn't used to dealing with kids like this because he is really something when he is getting in the passing lane and getting his hands on every loose ball.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting matchup because they have the 2-time Ivy League Defensive of the Year. He's a guard as well, and they'll be going up against each other probably quite a bit. And so I bet you Yale is used to it because they have to face this guy in practice every single day. And it's, you're right. He had a really big game, 15 points, most importantly, 5 or 6 from the line after shooting 57%, and 4 steals on top of that. Really controlled the game defensively. And they needed it because they had Ledee and they had him, and no one else had more than 6 points. Really didn't get much help from anybody else in a big way. And if Butler doesn't have the game that he has, they're not winning this.
Well, Mark, we appreciate it as always. I mean, I could talk basketball with you every day, but they don't play every day. Get a chance to rest. We'll see you all Sunday, and we'll see if we got another run in this team. I mean, it's hard to believe they're in position to get to the Sweet 16 again, but they are, and we'll just see if they can pull it off. Thanks for your time as always, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Talk to you soon.
Well, talk to you. Bye.
There he goes, Mark Zegler. Always good from the Union Tribune. And the funny thing, Mark doesn't want to give away everything he's writing about because he's got so much knowledge. It's unbelievable.
It is.
I mean, he'll talk about how the Aztecs attacked all the different defenses that UAB played, and he'll explain it in a way that, like, I'll read it and be able to understand it.
He does.
And he also talked about the last play of the game. The Aztecs went a high-low. Jay Powell made a great pass there over a double team to drop it into Ledee, who made the clinching free throws. That was really a well-executed play. And that was something the Aztecs had not done earlier in the year when they lost some of those close games. They did not execute right at the end of a game like that, but they did today. And, I didn't have to ask. I meant to ask him if the Aztecs can play a lot better than that, because that's my comment earlier in the day. I think there's some room for improvement always. I mean, you can always get better at some things. But I just kind of getting the feeling that this is the Aztecs this year. What we saw today is what they have.
That's strange because I felt like they played better than they've ever played, and they seemed to me like they were getting stronger.
Well, I don't think they played better than they ever have, but I don't think
this year.
I don't think they played worse than they ever have.
Okay.
I think they played about the way they play.
All right.
And I think you're going to see a pretty much similar game on Sunday. But, it was enough to win today. It's going to be enough to win again in the second round. It would be nice to get Micah Parrish going. Be nice to get Trammell a little bit more involved. Be nice to get Reese Waters going, as Mark pointed out. And, get some contributions along with Ledee.
You know what they were saying during the game was tape doesn't do justice to how good this team's defense is.
No, that's true. And even though Mark said he thinks Yale will be somewhat used to this kind of defense, there's no way they will be. There's no way they can be. There's no way Yale faces this kind of defense. They play Brown, they play Princeton, they play Harvard, all teams that are, good teams, but not the
they have a tall guy, but that's about
superior defense like the Aztecs. I'm not going to knock Yale. I mean, they just won. They beat Auburn. So if they can beat Auburn, they can beat the Aztecs.
That's true.
The Aztecs better be ready. Again, still waiting to find out the time of that game. They have not announced it yet. So
I wonder when they will announce that.
Maybe they'll wait till all of the games are done today. I'm not sure. But as of now, they have not announced the time for that game on Sunday. The 13 seed Yale. I'm going to say this. I think Yale's better this year than Furman was last year.
All right.
Now, Furman was a hot team because they had, pulled off that dramatic upset of Virginia. Remember Kevin Harlan? Did you ever see the video of Kevin Harlan's reaction?
Yes, he was actually
it's a classic.
He was actually, I think, embarrassed by it.
He was upset that they showed that. But he had nothing to be embarrassed about.
No.
It was just a natural reaction to an amazing finish of the game. But Furman completely shot everything they had to beat Virginia. So 2 days later, they had nothing in the tank for the Aztecs.
Dead.
And you hope that, the same thing happens to Yale. But we'll see. We will see. All right, Purdue's underway, and they're leading Grambling State 14-8 in the
Zach
first
Edey
half.
has like a wound on his arm because people are trying to guard him, and
they're hanging
just
off
can't
of him.
do it. he just shot some flagrant free throws.
Oh, did he?
And they were showing the up close of his arm, and it was like a huge scratch. He is massive.
He's a big guy. Big guy.
Massive.
Charleston and Alabama are tied at 10. That's obviously early. Duke at halftime leads Vermont 34-29. Texas A&M at halftime leads Nebraska 58-44. You're up to date. Now get up to date on traffic before we return on Gwynn and Chris.
From the 90
Gwynn and Chris show with Chris Ello and Matt Scraby today. Of course, Tony's off. Got home late last night after the lengthy flight from Korea. Padres, we haven't even mentioned the name Padres all day today, I don't think.
There's literally no news.
Well, of course, they got back. Everybody's resting, getting recalibrated.
Yeah.
Padres with the 1-1 start against the Dodgers. 15-11 was the score in the second game, Scrabe. I don't know if anybody's aware of that out there. A lot of people are pretty excited. I know I got a few texts last night.
Really?
Big win, big win. I'm like, okay.
It is a big win, and I think it's a huge win.
Huge. Even.
I think it's huge. It's
Wow.
so huge. It's huge, Chris.
So huge. It's
huge. Because they bounced back after a tough loss. Okay. How many times did that not happen last year?
I don't know.
A lot.
They're 1-1.
A lot.
It's pretty much where I have them at 1-1. Let's see. Little NFL news. The Chargers signed a cornerback today.
Oh, sweet.
Christian Fulton. 1-year contract, former Tennessee Titan cornerback.
Oh, okay.
Not quarterback. Cornerback.
Keenan Allen said a little bit more about what happened with him in the Chargers.
I'd like to know what this Fulton guy, who he's going to cover in practice, since the Chargers don't have a wide receiver.
You're right. They have Quentin Johnson, I think, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I guess the Chargers wanted to cut his salary a lot, and he was like, no. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll do this, and we'll present you with one where you make a lot of money this year, and then the next couple of years you're going to taper off money. And he's like, no, I just want to be paid the money that I've been told I was going to be paid. Yeah. And they're like, okay,
that's a good team player for you there.
We're going to try. We're going to trade
Keenan.
you. We're going to trade you.
I'll do whatever I can to help the squad.
No, they weren't even like trying to give him bonus money. They were just trying to pay him less.
Yeah. Well, that's the Chargers for you. Good luck to Jim Harbaugh. I believe the job that you have coming up is going to be impossible. Back to the NCAA tournament, because it is March Madness. There are 4 games currently right now.
You know, there's one game out there that we haven't really mentioned.
Hang on a second. That's not a game currently in progress.
I know.
Texas A&M leads Nebraska 67-52, early second half. That is early second half, by the way. Texas A&M scored 58 in the first half. Duke at halftime leads Vermont, but only by 5. Your guy, Kyle Filipowski, for Duke, got 3 points. Yeah, he beat out Jaden Ledee for second-team All-American, please.
Well, he's the country's hero after he...
Yeah, and he's a cheap shot player, too, for tripping the North Carolina guy and then saying, I didn't know what happened.
I think my foot went out.
Please. Filipowski lost all of my respect on that one. Purdue leads Grambling 26-17 in the first half. Zach Edey's already got a double-double. But you and I are watching this game, and the one thing that I noticed, Zach Edey he's a foot and a half taller than any player on the court.
It's ridiculous.
But in the NBA, he's not going to be bigger and taller than anyone. And I think that is going to make it tough for him because he's not used to having to score under pressure. He scores with no pressure on him at all. There's no one can get close to him. I just don't know that he's a certain surefire NBA guy.
It doesn't really seem like these super tall guys are surefire NBA guys.
We'll see. I'm not a good scout, so I could be way off. I didn't really think Chet Holmgren, the skinny kid from Gonzaga, I didn't think he was going to be any great shakes. Probably going to be rookie of the year.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's been dominating for Oklahoma City.
I haven't really even heard about him.
He and Wembanyama are like battling it out for rookie of the year. Wow. Chet Holmgren's been great.
All right.
One other game, Charleston leads Alabama 19-18. That's in the first half. Earlier today, the Aztecs won. They'll play Yale. Yale upended Auburn. The Mountain West Conference took another blow. New Mexico, I didn't ask either Ted or Zegler about that, but the Mountain worst.
I mean, they're going to have the same opinion that we are.
Yeah, they are. Clemson beat New Mexico 77-56. New Mexico was nowhere near in this game. Like they were down 5 minutes into the game.
It's ridiculous.
It gets blown right out.
Come on, Jalen House. Where are you there?
Didn't see Jalen. Well, let's see what Jalen finished with today. I guarantee you he wasn't blowing kisses to the crowd today.
No, not when they're losing like that.
He shot 12 points. Mashburn was shot 1 for 11. I mean, it was just a disaster for New Mexico today. And now there's only 2 Mountain West Conference teams left. The Aztecs, of course, and Utah State, which plays later this evening.
Yeah, they haven't even played yet. So it could be the Aztecs when we go to bed
Could
tonight.
be only the Aztecs by the time we end the evening. A couple games that came out the way you would expect. UConn beat Stetson 91-52. Marquette, although trailing at halftime, came back to beat Western Kentucky 87-69. Baylor blew out Colgate 92-67. Colorado won a thriller over Florida 102-100. Last second shot for Colorado, won it at just before the buzzer. And I think that's it.
Are there any other games, Chris? I don't know.
I don't know. You know what? I think Sam Levitt's listening to the program.
Yeah.
See if there's another game that I maybe should mention in there. Oh, yeah. There was one game that went to overtime. Yeah. Went to overtime. Sam Levitt, we're doing this because Sam Levitt, our pregame show guy, is so mad that he goes, Chris hasn't given every score but the Northwestern score.
Here's the text chat that we're having. So Sam texted me like 10 minutes ago. Make sure you mention Northwestern win. And I said, we do need to mention that. He said, I want to hear it. And I said, I told Chris. And he goes, Chris literally mentioned every other game.
Yes, I did.
So now we mentioned it, Sam. Your Northwestern, what are they? The
Wildcats.
Yeah, the Wildcats. Duh, I knew.
Northwestern pulled it out in overtime over Florida Atlantic.
Busted my bracket.
77-65. Florida Atlantic had the lead with seconds remaining. Northwestern tied it. About, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 seconds left, a driving layup. Florida Atlantic missed at the other end, or I think the shot was actually blocked. They went to overtime, and Ryan Langborg. Now, I mentioned Ryan Langborg. He dominated the overtime for Northwestern. He finished with a career-high 27 points. But Langborg played last year for Princeton. And remember, they made a big run in the tournament. Now he's with Northwestern. But again, he's a San Diego kid. San Diego guy, went to high school, I think La Jolla Country Day, but if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
What's his name again?
Langborg. Ryan Langborg.
All right, let me see.
He's from San Diego. Northwestern player now. Had a big game today to help Northwestern oust Florida Atlantic, which means there will be no Florida Atlantic returning to the Final Four.
Yes, that does mean that. Ryan Langborg, San Diego High School is what I'm going to search now.
No, he's not as.
But he went from Princeton, which is a great school. Northwestern's a great school. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
smart.
If I'm on the resume and I put Princeton, I think I'm going to get more looks.
But maybe you want to play a little bit bigger time basketball. Northwestern is certainly bigger time than Princeton when it comes to basketball.
I mean, Princeton went far in the tournament last year.
I know, but Northwestern plays in the Big Ten. It's a much bigger deal.
I know. You got TV contracts. You got
the whole thing.
NILs. You got all of it.
You got a I'm a high school for Langborg.
I'm looking for it. It's taking forever. La Jolla Country Day. You're right.
I was right.
He's a graduate student.
Well, good for him because he's representing San Diego well.
6'4", 195.
Next up for Northwestern, Sammy Levitt. Just give you as much love as I can here before you exit the tournament. Next up for Northwestern is UConn. That will be a tougher assignment.
What if Northwestern has to play San Diego State?
Well,
where does Sam's allegiances lie?
Well, I would think they would ally with Northwestern. That's where he went to school.
Yeah.
I think you always go with your alma mater. I would not begrudge him that. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk some Padres, some young Padres. Did an interview with Scraby.
John Nolan, Tin Caps play-by-play man.
Fort Wayne Tin Caps. But more than that, he knows every one of these Padre young players, from Jackson Merrill to Jacob Marcy to Ethan Salas. You will get insight that you probably did not have. It's next on Gwynn and Chris. Gravy, go. What do you got?
Man, I was so ready to go, and then I wasn't.
I surprised you.
You did surprise me. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by your local San Diego County UPS store. Your local San Diego County UPS store locations are hosting a shred event from March 27th through March 30th. 50% off shredding services. Visit the upsstore.com. For the location nearest you, see store for details. We got into this story the other day, Chris, but we never finished it. Someone asked me why we love shredding so much, and Chris and I both have brought papers from home to shred in our work shredder.
My wife is a bit of a shred fanatic.
I am too. I love doing it.
Yeah, she's just worried that people are going to steal all of our information.
Well,
so
that's good of her.
Right. She likes everything to be shredded, and she gives me piles that are reasonably thick.
Reasonably thick is right.
And at home, I have like a one paper at a time shredder, maybe two. And so when I get that thick of a stack, I bring it into work because we have I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I just told on myself.
I think it's okay.
I hope so.
I think
but
it's
at work, we have like an industrial shredder that like
you put 20 pages in at a time.
And that stuff's gone.
It's great. I even take my credit cards just because I like putting stuff in there.
You should wait till they're expired.
No, then I get a new one and I can do it all over again, Chris.
Really?
No, of course not. Of course not.
I tell you one thing, Grambling State is not going away from Purdue. This could be another, if it happens to Purdue again, it would be almost unfathomable.
You got to think that this coach is facing major pressure right now.
31-27 Purdue 3 minutes ago in the first half, only a 4-point game. Also, first half, Alabama's gone ahead of Charleston, 34-26. Second half, Duke over Vermont, 42-35. Midway second, Texas A&M leads Nebraska, 76-60. And oh, by the way, one final to report from earlier today. In overtime, Northwestern defeated Florida Atlantic.
Heard that somewhere.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure that Sam Levitt got the score for his alma mater. Northwestern 77, Florida Atlantic 65. Congrats, Sammy Levitt. All right, we got traffic to check. Then we're going to check in on the younger Padres. Jackson Merrill, Ethan Salas, etc. Guy who knows a lot about him is the voice of the Fort Wayne Tin Caps,
John Nolan,
right now.
Down through Oceanside. Also got your usual slowdown on the 15 North heading into Escondido. I'm Vicki Pepper with Gwen and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hello, John Nolan. How are you, and how are things in Fort Wayne, Indiana these days?
Hey, Chris. Hey, Matt. Thanks a lot for the chance to connect with you. And if only I had someone to negotiate on my behalf, maybe I'd be joining you guys in the sun rather than chilly weather. We're in the 30s here in Indiana, but ready or not, we'll be playing ball soon.
Yeah. Now, I have spent some time in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I broadcast Gulls hockey here in San Diego many years ago. And there was a year where the Gulls played the Fort Wayne Comets for the IHL championship. Fort Wayne won it in 4 straight. So the Comets celebrated at our expense. But I did spend a week there, and I thought it was nice. I had a good time. Yeah.
I know the immortal Dave Marcus has shared that trip with me in the past. And yeah, for listeners right now, in case you need some useless information here in the United States, you have the original 6 in the NHL, right? And then you got the Hershey Bears, and then it's the Fort Wayne Comets, or the next longest running professional hockey organization.
There you go.
For sports fans who are familiar with Doc Emmerich, who, of course, was the voice of hockey for so many years before he retired recently. Yep. He grew up here in the Fort Wayne area, and the Fort Wayne Comets were what introduced Doc to sports and got him started in his career. So
there you go.
Fort Wayne Comets, the more you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Fort Wayne Comets, by the way, last bit of trivia, Comets spelled with a K.
Oh, wow. Even crazier.
I don't think I ever figured that out, and it really didn't interest me enough to delve into it further. John, let's talk about the Padres and some of these young players that you've had the privilege of seeing play. Just in general, Do you feel like the young Padres, the organization, is as well stocked as most other people seem to think it is?
Yeah, for sure. And, I've actually been out here in Fort Wayne with the Tin Caps since 2013. And so, yeah, between the Comets and their long history of success hockey-wise and the Tin Caps who play at Parkview Field, which a lot of times gets rated as the top ballpark in minor league baseball, it's considered like the number one minor league sports city in the country. And it's been a privilege to see so many top prospects. Admittedly, we had that stretch there where we were seeing all these guys make their major league debuts with other organizations after they had turned into assets in the trade market. So, a stretch like this week here, seeing guys like Jackson Merrill and Graham Pauley, who we had literally last summer. So not only for them to make it here from the high A level to the show is awesome in itself, but the rapid timeline is great too. And I've got no doubt that in due time, there's going to be a bunch more that we saw here in Fort Wayne not long ago because, I think that the Padres are first off, you just got to credit the scouting group, especially with the 2022 draft class that they had, even the year before that, which produced Merrill, but a lot of guys who are developing well, and not only the scouting group but the player development staff too, doing their part in grooming these guys to contribute to a club that obviously here has playoff and beyond expectations.
We're talking to John Nolan here. He's the Fort Wayne Tin Caps play-by-play man on 97.3 The Fan. And so we were texting a little bit earlier about some of the different prospects that you've seen. And like you said, you've seen a lot of them. You've seen Ethan Salas. You've seen Jackson Merrill, Robbie Snelling, Dylan Lesko. But Jackson Merrill's the kind of hot topic here in San Diego right now. And you got to see him up close and personal and kind of out of the spotlight. What kind of player is Jackson Merrill?
Yeah, I think a lot of the scouting reports now are accurate. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just his ability to get the bat on the ball. And even I saw someone had shared stats from spring training, and I know it's only spring training, but comparing him to other top-tier prospects around the game from other organizations, he had by far the lowest swing and miss rate of any top prospect in big league spring training. And that goes right along with what we saw at him in the minors last year. And especially when you look back actually at the arc of his story in the minors last year, kind of inexplicably, there were 2 different weeks in the first month or so of the season in which he got a virus. So he was just physically not 100% in the early part last year, not to mention having to play in the cold of the Midwest. So through the first month or so, the numbers were not what we expected. I think actually when you step back at it now, and especially when you consider some of the conversation that people have about having him, in the deep end of the big leagues right now, how will he respond when he faces adversity and, inevitably at some point goes through a slump? There's obviously a difference between going through a slump against major league pitching and going through a slump against minor league pitching. But, he kind of had a bit of that humble pie last year, and a testament to the kind of character that he has, that he overcame that, and he went on to put up those gaudy numbers that you'd expect out of a top prospect in the minors. But I think, again, the thing that really just jumps out is it got to the point that he just was not striking out. And so if he wasn't barreling the ball up early in an AB, there would be situations where, he'd spoil those borderline pitches and, lay off borderline pitches when they were out of the zone. And, it might have taken 11 or 12 pitches, but he'd find a way to get on base. And so really steady, actually. I know Tony is traveling back right now. I think out of any prospect, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, but out of any prospects that I've seen as far as a left-handed bat going through that old 5.5 hole, I mean, that was Jackson Merrill. He's not a guy who's usually trying to do too much. So he's not, I know he almost hit a home run today, but usually not swinging for the fences per se. He'll just, if the pitch on the outer part of the plate, he's got no problem, adjusting to what he's seeing and just knocking a single through the opposite side. And so I think that, that's going to benefit him and hopefully prevent an early slump now that he's up in the show.
Yeah, first 2 hits of his career today for Jackson Merrill, and 2 for 5. And as you said, hitting the ball with authority. John Nolan, seen all these young Padre players now. Ethan Salas, I mean, he's gotten a lot of attention. He's still like 12 years old. I mean, I know he's a little old. Not much.
He's 17.
I know he's 17, but I mean, are we seeing things from him that lead us to believe that he is the can't miss prospect that people say he is?
Yeah, I think with him, it's probably more the intangibles because of the fact that he's been so young, still 17 right now, and last year playing for the most part against guys who are closer to their mid 20s. I know he had a great run at the single A level down the road in Lake Elsinore, in which the numbers did kind of pop out of the box score. But as a catcher, I think it's more so about just the mental part of the game for him and how advanced he is there. And every pitcher that I've talked to in the minor league system that's worked with him, they just rave about his ability calling the game and what he can do defensively as a catcher to make things better for them. And I think he understands the importance and value of cultivating relationships with these guys. And again, that's part of why he had the quick ascension to Double-A last year, because that's where a lot of the top pitching prospects who might get a call up at some point this year, or if not, then perhaps next year. And just really kind of fostering chemistry with them, and just carries himself as a complete professional, and part of byproduct of the fact that his own father played minor league baseball, and he's got an older brother in the minors and an uncle, I think a grandfather, and basically everyone in his family's played professional baseball. So he's grown up in that professional setting and environment. And I think a lot of fans know this by now, but just a reminder, even though he technically was considered the top international prospect in baseball last year out of Venezuela, spent a considerable part of his childhood in Florida. So that bilingual piece is another pretty critical one in helping the quick progress for him too. And well, we didn't have him for too long in Fort Wayne, so I can't say I got to know him on a personal level exceptionally well. But in that short time, I learned that even though he was just a 17-year-old, he's kind of an old soul. Like, he's not someone who's got like a flashy sports car these days. I mean, I don't think he even really has dipped into his bonus money yet, but I know he is a fan of classic cars, and he's pretty knowledgeable about cars from decades ago. So it's just little stuff like that makes him different. Again, how many of us as adults sometimes struggle even to be on time, let alone early, and he's consistently the first one in to the ballpark for early practice, and like the last one to leave, not in a rush to go do anything else, but just really focused on trying to be the best player that he can be.
Talking to John Nolan here, play-by-play man for the Fort Wayne Tin Caps on 97.3 The Fan. We've seen a lot of players, or at least maybe not a lot, but multiple players coming from Double-A, skipping Triple-A, and going right to the big leagues. And since you're calling Double-A and these guys are going from where you're at to the big leagues, why do you think it's much easier for these guys to skip Triple-A?
I don't know if it's necessarily easier for them to skip Triple-A, but just the reality of it here in this day and age is that like the geographic environment in not only El Paso, Texas, where the Padres AAA affiliate, the Chihuahuas, is, but also the majority of the teams in that Pacific Coast League play at elevation. And so it goes both ways for pitchers. They can execute pitches and induce what should be a routine fly ball, and then all of a sudden, thanks to the elements, it becomes a home run. And so not that there haven't been any guys who have pitched their way through the Pacific Coast League, but for some guys it can really throw them off. The numbers that are not representative. I think last year Pedro Avila was an example of that, right? Like, he did not have good numbers necessarily in AAA, and he held his own during his stints pitching in big league action. And then on the opposite side of things, maybe hitters can develop some bad habits because they don't even have to have their A swing to get a ball in the air, and next thing that elevation is turning it into a home run. And especially when you lock in here on what Mike Schilt and the Padres are trying to do, and be a team that executes situationally, you're not seeing a lot of those types of games in the PCL, where more often than not it can turn into something of a home run derby. So I think for that reason, that's definitely an aspect of why some guys are skipping AAA. It's not because, there's no value at all to playing at that level, but, some of the things there, because the elements make it skewed. And then also, I think when you step back and you look at sort of the roster makeup of AAA teams, that's a lot of what I suppose we would consider the 4A players, right? Guys who've kind of been back and forth in the big leagues and are more veteran. And obviously, it's really important to have guys like, I figure this year, a Matthew Batten will be starting off there, a Kevin Plawecki, guys who have proven that they can contribute at the big league level. But, you're talking about sort of the core of the prospects, younger guys, in a way, it's a little bit better maybe to keep them together, at the AA stage.
We've got about a minute left, but I want to spend it on Graham Pauley because I don't think a lot of people really know a lot about him. He hit 16 home runs for Fort Wayne last year. He's on this big league roster. He's kind of going to be coming off the bench, at least for now, pinch hitting. But what can he do, and what should we look for?
Yeah, so Graham Pauley, first thing that just really stands out to me about him is the type of person that he is. I remember meeting him when he first arrived in Fort Wayne last year, and just like a really unassuming guy, but really polite, really respectful. So whether he's talking to a former major leaguer, maybe on the coaching staff in the clubhouse, or he's talking to a fan, he's like the exact same guy. And I had the chance to be out at Peoria in spring training last week before the big league team left, and talking with Graham, he was 100% the same exact, just extremely polite, professional, respectful person. So I think it says a lot, because the time in between, he was the Padres minor league player of the year, but no ego whatsoever from that. The guy has proven that he can hit. He made a modification to his swing midway through last year that caused him to launch the ball more. So after being a really steady singles hitter, for anyone who saw him in Lake Elsinore last year, and maybe a guy who's driving the ball to the gaps for some doubles, but all of a sudden last year unlocked the ability to get the ball over the wall. I'll also say, I know Keith Law for The Athletic, he had a pretty harsh review of Graham's defense. I thought that was totally out of line. Not saying that Graham is going to be confused with Manny playing at third base, but I think you're talking about an above average athlete. So he's played all around the infield, even a little bit in the outfield. I trust in both like his IQ. I mean, he's got a degree from Duke in their economics program. I think between his IQ and his athleticism, he can more than hold his own in the field too.
Well, John, you can certainly hold more than your own.
Yeah,
talking about these young Padre players, I know that our fans enjoyed hearing about it. And as we go along, I want to definitely catch up with you and track the progress of these younger players who eventually we'll see here in San Diego. Thanks for your time today. Enjoy the season. Best of luck to the Tin Caps.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you guys and your coverage of the entire Padres system. And for me in the Eastern time zone, thanks to everyone on staff for you guys who help me out with my insomnia when it's late night and we're done with the minor league games and I'm just locked into the station here streaming online. So keep up the great work, and hope to be able to share more stories about guys making the quick rise through the minor league system here soon.
We'll be ready. Thanks, John. We'll talk to you again. John Nolan right there, the play-by-play voice of the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. John Nolan, thank you, John. Very good stuff on the young Padres. We got to make way for the Scraby Chronicles. He'll keep you up to date on the NCAA tournament games. Closest one right now, second half, Duke 50, Vermont 44. Could have another upset brewing there. Who knows? Aztecs will take on Yale Sunday. Aztecs have been installed as a 5.5-point favorite.
We still don't know the time?
No official time yet on that game.
All right.
But it is time for the Scraby Chronicles and the Daily Gripe and all that goes with it. So all you Scrabinators,
thank you.
Pay attention.
Wow.
Your show is next. Have a good weekend, everybody. From Gwynn and Chris.
Good night.